replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what's hotter than Tennessee recruiting? That's right, the local real estate market. Things are still moving and shaking, so when you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give me a call. Jennifer Morris at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
Hour 3 of the Swain event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Voted Best Barbecue in City View Magazine and a top 100 barbecue restaurant in the country, Dead End is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering and local delivery with Valet Gourmet. That's right, you can have Dead End brought to you. Can't think of the spread for your next event? Get Dead End to cater it. Check them out online, deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
With smartphones being such an integral part of our daily lives, it is truly an inconvenience when it doesn't work properly. It disrupts the normalcy of our day. When you go into the cell phone store to have it repaired, they just try to upsell you on a new phone. That's why the owner of iDrop, T. Kell, left those places and opened iDrop. His goal is a happy customer. T. Kell and the team will listen to what you have going on and work to solve the problem of your broken device in a way that best suit your needs, instead of trying to upsell you on something that you just don't need. They don't just repair phones, they can service your laptop or PC as well as your Mac. Windows 7 support is over, but iDrop can help you transition to Windows 10. They have a 5-star rating on Google with hundreds of positive reviews. Let me say that again. I don't think y'all understand how big this is. They have a 5-star rating on Google. Their customer service really speaks for itself. So if you ever find yourself with a device that isn't performing as it should, give iDrop a call at 865-888-9740 or check them out on Facebook at iDrop of Knoxville. If man made it, they can fix it.
Deep down the middle's got his man, and he's gone. Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain event.
Guess what time it is? My time. You can check your iPhone. Better say it's our time.
With your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop them.
It's time for the Swain event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Give me 2 pounds and a Rick Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. It is Hump Day. Ain't that right, Ben?
Yes, it is. It is Hump Day.
Halfway
Big
through
fan
the
of Hump
week
Day.
for those that like to keep count. It is another day on paradise. It is another day above the ground, which is a blessing, which is a bonus day, and we are very glad that you are with us this morning. Swain Event is fueled by Dead End Barbecue, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And again, thank you for joining us. Download the free Swain Event app, which we will have a new app this month. Wow. This month, we will have a brand new app. 10 days or less, we will have a brand new app. This is the first day of the new month. This is the first day of July, and this is the month. This month is critical for college football. Huge development took place yesterday as the SEC annual media days will not take place as originally scheduled. Ben McKee, Jason Swain. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, family. How be you?
Huh?
How be you? How it do? What it do? What's popping? What's crack-a-lacking? How are you?
Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi, my name is.
Hey, I'm Jason, man.
Shout out to Eminem.
Hey.
Jason.
SEC fans will have to wait to get their fix of press conferences and football analysis, as SEC Media Days 2020 won't occur as originally planned on July the 13th. So the league had previously adjusted its week-long media event to Atlanta to a virtual only approach due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Media day dates have yet to be determined. No decision has been made yet. SEC Media Days are expected to be pushed back until at least the last week of July and possibly the first week of August. The SEC Network also no longer lists the SEC Media Days on its television schedule for that week. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The SEC Media Days, man, that is a spectacle. To not have it in person is one thing. To push it back virtually, which is not that hard to do, really not that many moves that need to be made to push that thing back. It's not like a bunch of people have hotel rooms booked or anything like that. But here we are on this roller coaster, this emotional roller coaster of a college football fan or a football fan in general, and you see numbers decreasing, hospitalizations, people getting infected, deaths. You see those numbers decreasing, and you feel optimistic about the season. And then you see those numbers increase, and then you wonder and you question. And then you see something like this where a date is pushed back. You just don't know. So here we are on that emotional roller coaster. Ben, when you saw this, were you on that roller coaster, or
No,
were you in line getting cotton candy?
Where would I be in line getting cotton candy?
Roller coaster, so you'll probably be like at the fair, Ben, or that's usually where roller coasters are.
That's true, but trying to avoid COVID would not be a great idea to be at an amusement park. I just kind of had an whatever feel to it. Like I saw it and kept it moving. Like it did not affect my emotions one way or the other. I do enjoy SEC Media Days. I am one who will sit down and watch the wall-to-wall coverage of SEC Media Days, especially this year with everything being virtual, being televised. I would have watched every moment of it. I was excited to hear Mike Leach talk. I was excited to hear Lane Kiffin talk. Obviously excited to hear Jeremy Pruitt talk. Outside of a couple of entertaining coaches and a coach that pertains to what we do every single day, I don't think you get a whole lot from the podium from the head coaches. Like, I'm sorry, but Will Muschamp isn't going to tell me anything of significance about South Carolina football over his 30 minutes at the podium. So that was kind of why I did not have any emotions, just because I don't think we're losing a ton from having the coaches at the podium, because they're not as willing to give away information. And as we know, Jeremy Pruitt, his time at Media Day is more valuable when he is speaking with the local media for 15-20 minutes before he goes and gets on the podium. So I didn't really have a feeling one way or the other. I do enjoy the wall-to-wall coverage each day, though. Typically there are 4 teams that go each day, and I love hearing Marcus Spears, used to be Booger McFarland, Cole Kublik, Jordan Rogers, Paul Feinbaum to a certain extent, Laura Rutledge, all the guys and gals that are breaking down the teams that particular day. I do enjoy listening to that, because I feel like you can learn a lot from those conversations that they have on the SEC network, because they are talking to the coaches, not just the head coach, but they are talking to the coordinators, the position coaches. They are talking to people within the program, and so they are going to be able to add insight and value to a conversation, to a team that we aren't going to be able to get on the surface. So that is what I will miss more than – and as of right now, we're still going to have an SEC Media Days, but in terms of it being pushed back, that is what we are missing more than seeing the head coaches speak at the podium, in my opinion.
Bittersweet, man. Marcus Spears is officially moving on to NFL Live. We got Marcus Spears for 5 years there with SEC Nation there on the SEC Network, and he took to Twitter yesterday to thank SEC fans. He did let us know that once a Tiger, always LSU Tiger. Ain't nobody asked you about that, man. I don't want to know about no LSU Tigers. No, I'm just kidding. I think we knew this was going to happen, Ben. You know, we saw Marcus Spears appear on several top ESPN shows, NFL Live, First Take, Get Up. You know, he's everywhere, and so kudos to him. He certainly deserves the success that he's experiencing right now, man, because he's good, man. He's down to earth, laid back, knowledgeable, does a great job of delivering, you know, his opinion. Funny, man. He is. I told y'all he's my favorite there with the ESPN SEC Network, and that means it's an opening, Ben.
Holla at your boy.
Maybe we'll get us a Vol up in there, represent for Tennessee.
Let's start the Twitter campaign. Jason Swain for SEC Nation. They have not decided. We talked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. Some names that they were considering: Sean Alexander, the former Florida tight end Ben Watson.
Yeah, Ben Watson, Georgia.
Yes, Georgia, that's right. I knew it was one of those stupid schools down south. Let's start the Twitter trend. Oh, that's a tongue twister. Say that 5 times fast. Twitter trend. Whew. Jason Swain for SEC Nation. I do wonder if Marcus will still participate in this year's SEC Media Days. I don't know when his NFL Live gig starts, but that's going to be a heck of a show. Also, on a separate note,
look like he's gone, man.
Yeah, maybe so. I do think that Marcus loves the SEC so much to the point to where we'll see him every now and then. He'll make an appearance, kind of like what Booger did.
Yeah, I agree.
Ryan Clark, not as prominent in terms of the SEC network starting up when we had Booger and Maria Taylor and Marcus and Laura Rutledge. But over time, as Ryan Clark has retired from football and gotten into media, with him being from LSU, we've kind of seen him a little bit here and there with college football, mainly NFL. But I think we'll see Marcus come back here and there. But that show is going to be awesome. Laura Rutledge hosting, and then you have Dan Orlovsky, who he's arguably
does a great job breaking down
quarterbacks.
Yeah, he does a great job just breaking down the game, period.
Yes, I mean he's great. Marcus Spears, obviously. Mina Kimes, who she is a terrific personality.
Yeah, she does a good job.
And then I'm missing a fourth one.
Keyshawn Johnson.
So that might be must-watch television every day during NFL season.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. So happy for Marcus Spears there. A lot of things to get to.
So were you on the roller coaster? Were you at the cotton candy stand yesterday when you saw that SEC Media Days was put on hold for the time being?
I'm not really on an emotional roller coaster. I'm just, I'm steady. I understand this thing is fluid, and it's a day by day process where anything can happen in a week. We made a lot of progress to the point where we saw numbers go down. We saw people feel more comfortable with getting out and opening things up, and that's kind of changed in the last 5 to 6 days. And so, I prepared myself for a emotional roller coaster months ago. So, but this is a very important and crucial month. This is technically the last month of summer conditioning before you report at the end of the month and fall camp starts. So very, very crucial month, which is why I think you're seeing more people talk about putting on a mask, and you're seeing more PSAs from coaches or ADs around the country, especially here in the SEC, because this is a very, very important month. It is July. 865-250-5503. Be right back.
You don't have to take an L just because you can't listen to the Swain event live. You can catch up on the podcast posted daily on the app, online, and on iTunes.
Craving flavors that don't take hours in the kitchen? Mrs. Grissom's cheese spreads and chicken salads are the perfect go-to. Ready-to-eat meals and snacks found in the meat or dairy section at your local grocery store. Whether you crave the classic Mrs. Grissom's pimento cheese or the gluten-free select varieties like the cranberry pecan chicken salad, enjoy small-town flavor in every bite. Select the best. Select Mrs. Grissom's.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. You pull over, step out of your car, and the next thing you know, you're being arrested for driving under the influence. Now what do? We all should be responsible. But remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza at 865-540-8300. The investigative teams at the Garza Law Firm know the justice system inside and out. They utilize cutting-edge technologies and investigative methods to prepare your specific case. Before you plead guilty to any criminal charges, call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza. Put his number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty. Say Garza. 865-540-8300. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what's hotter than Tennessee recruiting? That's right, the local real estate market. Things are still moving and shaking, so when you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give me a call. Jennifer Morris at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
This is the month, folks. This is the month you hit up those fireworks stores and you load up on Roman candles and never mind. We're not kids anymore. You can't have Roman candle fireworks war anymore. Can't do that anymore. But this is the month though, man. Couple days it'll be the 4th of July and the barbecues will be fabulous. Fireworks. We love our fireworks. My goodness, man. My goodness. It is July. It is July. The month for college football programs looking to really make a run, really want to compete for a championship. This is the month. You worked out maybe in a complex in May, maybe a little bit in June. But no, this is the month. We got to work outside. We got to work outside, not in the morning. We have to prepare ourselves for work with structuring our workouts to land right dab in the middle of the hottest part of the day. 3, 4, 5 o'clock. We have to prepare for the sun. In the regular season. This is the month. Conditioning is harder. It's hotter. You should be rounding out into some of the best shape of your life during this month. So crucial month for college football teams. And with players not being on campus in April and May and having to do their things at the house. Coming in June 9th, how far off are we conditioning wise
at this
from
point,
a typical year? That's the question.
Do you think I'm off base in saying that?
Yep, you off base.
Well, you're off base. Okay. Do you think it's fair to say that we're going into week 3 of workouts with the team? I think this is the 3rd week of workouts for them, maybe the 4th.
It's third.
Third, okay. I feel like they should have knocked off the rust by now. And obviously, I don't have any insight to whether or not they have, but based off of comments that we have heard about the team here and there, Austin Price coming on the show and saying that, everybody was in reasonable shape. Maybe you had one or two who were just completely out of it, but as a team, they were not just so far away from where they needed to be. Like it was a week or two. Like I know the example that Austin used was Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright did come back to campus a little bit heavy, but within a week he was already back to where he needed to be. So do you think that the team by now going into week 3 can kind of should have already knocked that rust off, and now they're hitting that home stretch of really improving? They've gotten back to ground level. They're out of the basement back to ground level, and now they're climbing those steps.
I just think off-season conditioning and strength program, man, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's laid out in a way to where there's a buildup. There's a buildup in your endurance. There's a buildup with your strength. You don't go from benching 100 pounds to 200 pounds in a week. There's a process, and you can't speed it up. If you take me, who's out of shape, and you take someone else who runs every single day and who's in shape, and we go, okay, well, from this point, let's start working out and see who's in better shape in 3 weeks. Well, that guy's going to be in better shape in 3 weeks because he's already in shape. He's been running. He's been conditioning. And so I don't think these guys are where they need to be right now. Now, I think knocking the rust off is different than comparing where these players are from a conditioning standpoint in 2020 to July 1st, 2019. I think they're further behind. So that's why this month is so critical to get you to a point where you're able to run a rep or two without falling out, to be able to go through an entire practice during fall camp without having a full body cramp. Like I've seen a player have a full body cramp, had to go to UT Medical to stay overnight and be pumped with IVs and fluids. So part of being in shape is, yeah, you want to be able to run all day, but man, your body needs to be used to being outside in that sun and making sure that you're properly hydrating. And the only way to get used to doing it is doing it. And so that's why July is so crucial. I remember the transition. I remember when we used to do a lot of our workouts inside during May, and then June started to come, and a lot of those workouts started to move outside. And in July, most of them were outside. Now, throwing sessions, 7-on-7, 1-on-1s, routes versus air with the receivers, DBs, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks by ourselves, like we would use the complex, but our strength coach ran workouts, man, those things are outside in July. And you got to get used to the sun. Tennessee is in no position where we can guarantee that we're playing night games. We ain't good yet. When we get good, start whooping butt on a consistent basis, then we'll be in more primetime games. So you better get used to playing football when it's 95 degrees outside. And that's what July is all about. Let's get to the phones.
Let's get to Brandon and Charlotte.
Brandon, good morning, sir.
Hey, Swain, I really appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, man.
Grew up watching you play, and it's a honor to be on the phone. First time caller, been listening for a while. I hate to switch to quarterback talk.
Go ahead,
what
man.
I'm really interested in is what are we looking to see from JG? I'm one of the rare fans. What are we specifically wanting to see him improve on? Is it mobility? Is it decision making? Is it timing? Just curious to hear your thoughts. I'll hang up and listen. And I, again, appreciate you and Ben. Have a blast listening to you every morning.
Hey, thank you, Brandon. Call back anytime, man. Good to hear from a first-time caller. Timing. I think timing and decision making go into one. That is the one thing I'm looking for in Jerry Garantano. I don't question his toughness. No one should question his toughness. No one should question his desire to want to win, his desire to want to be great. I don't think anyone needs to question that. But the missing piece for Jared is his ability to say, this 12-yard curl, it's cover 2. My guy's running the curl on the outside. I know where he's going to be, and I'm going to throw the ball before he even looks, because I know that he's going to be there. And when he catches it, because I've thrown with great timing, it's going to give my receivers an opportunity to have more separation from the DB when he catches the ball, which gives him a better chance to make a move and make somebody miss. It's the anticipation. It is the timing. It is throwing guys open. Jerry can make all the throws. He has a beautiful throwing motion, if you ask me. He throws a tight spiral. I mean, it gets there.
Arm talent is not his issue.
But it's just
his mind slows down his arm.
Yeah, it's just processing the information and letting it fly. Don't second guess yourself. And sometimes you do that because you want to be so perfect. You want to do it right.
Try to do
so
too
much. Yeah, you want to do it right. But sometimes when you're thinking about doing it right, you're late. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happens with Jared. That is the one part of his game that needs to improve, that I want to see. And I think your understanding of the offense makes a huge, huge difference. Unfortunately for Jared, he's had 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years. And this is the first time he'll have the same offensive coordinator for 2 years in a row. And that's going to be huge for Jared. I hope he gets to the point where he's able to have 2 different plays at the line of scrimmage and he's able to check from one to the other based on the defense. I hope he gets to that point. He's going to have to earn that trust from Jim Chaney. He's going to have to earn that ability from Chris Winkie and T. Martin. He's going to have to earn that. But a senior quarterback should be able to do that. He should be able to do that. But if you had to pinpoint one thing I want to see from Jared that Jared has to improve on, man, that is timing. That is throwing with anticipation.
All between the ears. I think that's how you can really sum it up. It's all between the ears, and everything else will be a byproduct of that in terms of timing, decision-making, accuracy. And that was the weird thing about last year. Not that Jarrett Garantano was a world beater in 2018, but he showed characteristics, showed traits as a quarterback that left you thinking, okay, he has the potential to have a strong 2019 season. And that was in 2018. He showed that he can throw the football with accuracy. He showed that he can make good decisions. He was a good play-action passer. And then last year he goes out and he throws a career high in interceptions, terrible decision-making, and his accuracy, which had been good prior to last year, took a rather big dip. And then he also regressed as a play-action passer. So I think that's all a result of his mentals, football mentals, that is, and thinking too much. I think it all correlates to one another. I think they're all connected, and as you were saying, throwing with anticipation and timing and those kind of things. I think it's all connected, and it's all goes back to his football mentals. That if he can just find that confidence and he can find that light switch and he can flip that switch, and I think he will under Jim Chaney. Again, I don't think he's going to go out and replicate what Joe Burrow did last year, but I expect him to have a productive fifth-year senior type of season. I really do. I expect him to have a season very comparable to that of Jonathan Crompton's when Jonathan Crompton was a senior, and the light kind of flipped for him. That's what I kind of expect this season, and I think it all goes back to just connecting those dots in between the ears, football-wise, and I think everything else will just be second nature to him, and he'll go out there and just play.
That's funny you mentioned Jonathan Crompton. I talked to Crompton yesterday. Man, he was on my mind, on my heart, so I reached out to him.
I knew that. That's why I said.
No, you didn't.
No, I'm kidding.
No, you did, man. That's crazy, man. I mean, I did reach out to James Woolholt yesterday via Twitter because it was his birthday, so I want to wish him a happy birthday. But man, yesterday I was just sitting back like, man, I wonder what my guy Jonathan Crompton is doing. So just wanted to check in on him, and funny you mentioned that, but. Jared has the tools to be successful, and you better be cheering your butt off for him. You better wish that he has the best season ever, because I think a lot of Tennessee's success this season is going to be on him. There's going to be games where the defense is going to win. The defense is going to, show the load. There's going to be games when it's the running game. It's going to be games where you have to win on Jared's arm. We've seen that last year when Tennessee lit up Missouri in the air. You find different ways to win. The good teams do it. You can't be one-dimensional. You can't only win one way. There's other great coaches on the other sideline that will take your strengths away and make you rely on your weakness, causing you to lose. And so we'll need Jared. We will need Jared. I'm sure Harrison Bailey, if he comes in, he'll have a couple sparks like Brian Maurer. He may even have more sparks. He may be the best freshman quarterback in the country. We don't know that. But you have to prepare for all possible scenarios if you're Tennessee. Hour 1 is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Be right back.
I'm Vince Moore, wide receiver, VFL 1991, and you're listening to the Swain Event.
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss stem cell treatment and PRP. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, Achilles tendonitis, or tennis elbow, you should give them a call.
That's right, Jason. We specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints by using ultrasound-guided injections with stem cells or PRP. And this form of treatment actually stimulates the body's own reparative process and allows for healing of the damaged tissue.
So, Doc, what makes your training different than others?
Well, Jason, I've been practicing in Knoxville for 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. So unlike the big seminars that will advertise stem cells, fly someone in for a couple hours to talk about supposed stem cells that you order off of a shelf, then they'll depart, leaving the patient wondering who will be the person injecting me and what their level of training is. At Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own bone marrow stem cells or PRP. So in other words, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, trsportsmedicine.com. East Tennessee's leader in PRP and stem cell therapy. When I made the move to my own studio, I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about, hey, did I get this piece of equipment? Did I get that piece of equipment? Does that sound good? Does that not sound good? One thing I didn't have to worry about, that was office furniture, because Office Furniture Outfitters met my furniture needs. With a 50,000 square foot facility, they have East Tennessee's largest selection and are the best value for new and used office furniture. Located in Knoxville, it's easy to find everything you need for your new space, including desks, file cabinets, chairs, conference tables, and more. Office Furniture Outfitters is turnkey. They came to my place, we mapped everything out that was needed, they delivered, and get this, set everything up. To learn more about what Office Furniture Outfitters can do for you, log on to ofonox.com. That's ofonox.com. Guys, Low T Center is open for normal business hours, including Saturdays. Their goal is to help you be the best and healthiest version of you. And right now, if you are concerned with social distancing, Low T Center can help with at-home treatment options for current patients. And they also have great options for new patients too. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy to take care of your health. most health insurance is accepted. They'll even help verify it for you. And just a reminder, if you're feeling bad, have a fever, or travel to high-risk areas, please stay home. If you'd like to learn more about getting a comprehensive health assessment, be sure to call 865-392-1388. That's 865-392-1388. Or you can schedule an appointment online at lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Around the SEC, powered by 42nd Street Marketing, your game-winning play call for design, marketing, and branding.
All right, it's time for Around the SEC this morning. It is Wednesday, July the 1st. Hope you're having a great morning, and we appreciate you starting your morning with us here on the Swain event. Hour one is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. All right, Ben, what do we have for Around the SEC?
My big nugget for the morning was that SEC Media Days has been postponed for the time being. But I do have one other nugget to share, and this is getting back to something that I said I was going to do like 2 weeks ago when I talked about QBU. 247 did a series breaking down every single position: running back, receiver, tight end, O-line, edge, defensive line, linebacker, DB, breaking down which schools are the U's of that position. And I went over the quarterback position 2 weeks ago and said I was going to continue to give the good folks kind of who is the current, over the last 5 NFL drafts, who the current running back U is, wide receiver U, and so on and so forth. So it's a slow news day around the SEC, so I'm going to let you all know who's producing the best running backs in terms of the last 5 NFL drafts. And I can imagine that 4 schools, at least 3 of them, are very easy to pick in terms of who is running back U right now. And then one may surprise you. If you've been following this school, it shouldn't surprise you. But
running back U?
Yes.
Let's see here. Is it inside the SEC?
3 of them.
So
3 of the top 5 are in the SEC.
I know Wisconsin is one.
Nope.
Wait, Wisconsin's not running back U? Not considered?
Not over the last 5 NFL drafts.
Hold on. Man. Running back U. Oh, Penn State. Huh? They just had 2, Miles Sanders and my guy with the Giants.
These guys had Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
These schools, there's one who has 5 draft picks over the last 5 years. The second place has 4 draft picks, and then 3 through 5 is 3 draft picks.
Ohio State?
Ohio State is tied for 4th with 3 draft picks.
Huh. Well, just tell me the other one. I don't know.
Alabama is number 1.
Of course.
Georgia and LSU are tied for 2nd.
Okay.
Memphis and Ohio State are tied for 4th.
How many in Memphis?
They have had 3 draft picks over the last 5 seasons, with 3rd-round pick Darrell Henderson, 3rd-round pick Antonio Gibson, and 4th-round pick Tony Pollard.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yes. So those are your current running back U schools. Ohio State, they've had 3 draft picks in Zeke, J.K. Dobbins, and Mike Weber.
I don't agree with that.
Which part?
All of it. Here's what I'm thinking. Your draft selection shouldn't be the only factor in determining who is running back U, or wide receiver U, or whatever. Because let's say you are, in this case, Memphis. No shade to Memphis on this particular example. But let's just say, okay, you had some guys that tested well, some teams saw their potential, but the school did not use that player properly.
Mm-hmm.
No one, when Georgia Tech had Calvin Johnson and Demaryius Thomas right there, kind of in the same cluster of years, they could say they wide receiver U, but come on, man. Y'all ain't a wide receiver U. All y'all did was have some athletic dudes who y'all mismanaged,
right?
Did not use properly, and the NFL team saw their potential. They tested well. That's why they were first-round picks, not because you use them right. So,
AKA Alvin Kamara in Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't like only looking at a player and where he's drafted. I think how a team uses a player matters, because how you going to claim that you are running back you when you ain't use them right? That don't make any sense. Or you're quarterback you, or you're running back you, or receiver you. You got to use your players right. Clemson can sit here and have that argument at wide receiver. Alabama can have that argument at wide receiver. Oklahoma, LSU, Ohio State can have that argument at wide receiver, because not only do they have guys who were drafted, but they can show that they actually use them properly. They can show the 1,000-yard seasons. They can show the receptions, 50-plus receptions. I remember when Clemson was recruiting Josh Malone, and I know Clemson's pitch on Josh Malone, because when I was at a Catholic Fulton game, back when Amari was a senior, I was at the game, and Jeff Scott was at the game, which was the wide receiver coach, offensive coordinator at Clemson. And so I introduced myself, told him to tell Woody McCoy, I said, hey, and we got to talking, and like he told me the pitch. I messed with him about, hey, man, I don't like that whole wide receiver U thing, man. I don't like that, man. I understand why you're doing it, but I don't like it. And he laughed. He was like, hey, man, it's recruiting. So he meant no disrespect. He was really cool. I'm a fan of his. Hope he does great things as the head coach. But his pitch, all his pitch was to Josh Malone was, hey, here's our receivers. This is what we've done with Sammy Watkins and Mike Williams. And here's the numbers. Here's what our guys caught. These are the balls that they caught. These are the yards. This is the targets, touchdowns, boom. Okay, here's Tennessee's of the last couple of years. What you want to do? That was the pitch, and it almost worked. If it wasn't for an amazing move by Tennessee to get Josh Malone out of town when it was time for Clemson to have their in-home visit. So you gotta use the players too. It ain't just players getting drafted, because you can get drafted despite the team underutilizing you. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
that doesn't make Tennessee running back you just because Alvin's success in the NFL.
Right.
You got to use them properly. So that's why I don't necessarily like only having one metric.
I get it. I do think more often than not, though, NFL draft is a good, solid foundation for that argument.
It's one.
Yes.
It's one of. It's not.
And in the case of Memphis, like those Memphis running backs that I mentioned, Tony Pollard, Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson, they balled out at Memphis. They were legitimate running backs.
I'm not saying they're running backs don't deserve it. I just use Memphis as an example.
Correct. I know.
Or if you want to take New Mexico State, and they had in 3 years they had 2 wide receivers get drafted in the first 3 rounds, but those receivers didn't even catch 30 passes, in that season. Come on, New Mexico State. You can't be saying you wide receiver you and you ain't even use them right.
Would you like to see if you agree with the wide receiver rankings?
What you got?
Of wide receiver U, they did 1 through 10 for this.
All
and
right.
just skimming through real quick, I think you will agree, at least for
nervous.
the top half.
I'm nervous, man. I got butterflies.
Who would you pick as number 1?
Alabama right now.
They are number 2 behind Ohio State. Not an absurd thing to do. And especially off of their metric, Ohio State has had 7 guys drafted. Alabama has had 4. Oklahoma is number 3. Clemson is 4th. Here's where I know you will disagree. Or Or maybe you won't because of who the wide receivers have been, but you won't like the brand name. Ole Miss is 5th because A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf has 2 of their 4 draft picks within the last 5 years. Notre Dame is 6th. Georgia is 7th. Baylor is 8th.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. 6 draft picks within the last 5 years.
See?
Mecole Hardman.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's that bull dropping stuff right there, man. That's it. I just explained it earlier. That's it, man. They ain't used receivers at Georgia.
That's true.
That's why Miko left. That's why we got one of the receivers with the Bears. That's why guys were leaving. See?
Baylor's 8th. Florida is 9th. LSU is tied for 10th with TCU.
Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, guys that were used at Alabama, they went on to the NFL, and they've wrecked it in the NFL too. You look at what's happened in the last couple of years at Alabama. How do you not have Alabama up there at the top, along with Clemson, Ohio State, and LSU is going to be knocking on that door soon, depending on what happens with these receivers this year, next year. But again, man, you just look at NFL draft picks, and you got to look at how a school has prepared and used a player too.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. A running back gets drafted high based on his combine. So let's say Chris Johnson, coming from ECU, ran a 4.25. He gets drafted in the first round by the Tennessee Titans. And then let's say another running back comes out of ECU, and he runs a good time, and he's barely used at running back. You can't go claiming that you're running back just because you had 2 really good draft picks.
Right.
When you went past happy Mike Leach in your offense. So I think a lot plays into being able to say that you are position you than just the success of a player at the NFL and the NFL draft slot, their position. What did you do with them?
Right.
How did you develop them? Did you develop them? Like, I remember Tennessee was listed as like tight end U, like one of the top 5 schools, just because there was a certain amount of tight ends that was drafted from Tennessee. But I'm like, yo, it's more than that. Because you can throw in, Brad Cotton was a 3rd round pick. But he was drafted off potential. He didn't catch more than 20 passes at Tennessee in a season. Now you look at Luke Stalker. I don't remember Luke Stalker doing a lot in college. He's been more productive than Brad Cotton. He's been
Still
probably the most productive tight end other than Jason Witten in the last 10 years. Michael Rivera, more athletic, but Luke Stalker has been more productive. He can block. He has decent hands. I think what you do with the player when you have them matters. Here's the thing I hate to see. We see all these schools use recruiting graphics. Imagine a school using a recruiting graphic for a kid they misused, and the kid was drafted 1st round despite being misused. And then the school's like, yo, receiver you, baby. He came from our school. We prepared him. No, you didn't. Mom and dad prepared him with good genes. That's who prepared him. You didn't even use him. He only had 17 receptions all season long because you misused him. Like the previous coaching staff, if they got like an extra 2 years,
and then use the graphic to promote Alvin Kamara,
man,
or Josh Malone,
that would be criminal. You didn't even use them properly. So their production in college, how they developed, draft spot, and what they done in the NFL, I think that all needs to factor in a school being able to say that they are position U. That's just me.
Fair enough.
865-255-03. Hour 1 is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Free water testing. Our experts will test your home's water for free. Free Wi-Fi thermostat with the purchase of and installation of a new HVAC system. Free service call with repair. That means you simply don't pay a service fee when Hiller performs the work. HappyHiller.com.
Don't feel bad. You can talk to the guys on the text box. It's part of the free Swain event app.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799. If you're coming to Knoxville and need a place to stay, do yourself a favor and book a room at Hampton Inn Paper Mill, also known as the Hampton on the Hill. This award-winning property is literally in the top 5% of all Hampton Inn properties. The GM, Stephen Lawrence, is a good old local boy who grew up in the business around Knoxville. He and his staff are always available, always willing to help, and will go above and beyond for their guests. The newest Hampton Inn in Knoxville has clean, affordable rooms, flat screens, fridges, and microwaves in every room. Plus, breakfast is included in every rate. Not to mention, there's also a pool and fitness center on site. If it wasn't so close to amazing restaurants, bars, and shopping, you would never want to leave. At only 6 miles from campus, you're still right in where the big orange action is. Go to HamptonInn.com, search Knoxville, and book your room at the Hampton Inn Paper Mill or call 865-693-5400.
I just wanted to come by and congratulate you on the great work you've been doing.
I like your style. You remind me of a young me.
Failure is not an option.
That boy is good.
Homes, remind yourself, nobody built like you design yourself.
Attaboy.
All right, it's time for Attaboy here in the Swain event, highlighting positivity and really good stories. Good stories that make you smile, good stories that make your heart warm. And we try to do that every single day here in the Swain event in the first hour or so. Ben, I know you have something to share, and then I'll share mine afterwards.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have an attaboy, but wanted to share something that I thought was cool on Twitter yesterday. Shelton Felton, Tennessee's new outside linebackers coach. I mentioned him to Austin Price yesterday because Tennessee recently offered a three-star linebacker from Georgia and Christopher Paul Jr. And there's also a defensive back, a safety, Sherrod Bryant, who Tennessee is targeting, who plays at the same high school as Christopher Paul Jr. And they both recently received offers last month in June. They play at Crisp County High School in Cordell, Georgia, and Shelton Felton used to coach there. And if you look at comments that those two recruits have made to recruiting services, they speak very, very highly of Shelton Felton. And then you get on Twitter yesterday, and Big Cat Bryant, Auburn's edge rusher, who I guess he's from Georgia. He is from Georgia. You click on his Twitter profile, it says he's from Cordell, Georgia. So I imagine probably went to the same high school. But Tennessee tweeted out a video yesterday at 12:25, or it was actually the day before. It was on Monday. Anyways, it said, "What's up, Shelton Felton?" And it is like a minute and a half of Shelton Felton talking about his coaching style and things of that nature. And Big Cat Bryant saw it and quote tweeted it and said, "He taught me everything I know. He believed in me before I even believed in myself." So I thought that was a cool Twitter interaction. Big Cat Bryant, Auburn's edge rusher, a very talented edge rusher. And, you know, it kind of reminded me of when we saw the Alabama players, Mack Wilson, Ryan Anderson, guys like that coming out when Tennessee hired Jeremy Pruitt, and speaking highly of Jeremy Pruitt, it reminded me of that. So not necessarily an attaboy, but something I thought was cool yesterday when I was scrolling through social media.
I want to give an attaboy to Trey Smith and Josh Palmer, just how they have carried themselves. Not everyone's going to agree with everyone, you know, when they have something to say, which I don't understand why you would not agree with Josh Palmer and Trey Smith, but hey, it happens. And I just want to give them attaboy for how they have handled themselves. And a part of communication is making things easy to not misunderstand. Part of being a really good coach is not just saying, "Hey, man, I know a lot of information, and here's the information. Just go do what I know to do." This is why really good players, it's hard for them to be good coaches, because they don't maybe know how to explain and communicate as if someone is not as talented as them. It's hard for really good players to be good coaches. Well, I thought Josh Palmer did a really good job of communicating what he said on the podcast Slice in a way that you just cannot you can't misunderstand. Like, you can't mess this up. Our job on this program is to talk about sports topics and give you our opinion, bring you news and notes and things like that. And if we have a listener that don't understand our point of view or where we're coming from, that's not on the listeners at times. I look at it as that's on me. That's on you for not doing a better job of stating our points clearly and making it easy to understand. And I thought Josh Palmer and Trey Smith did a great job of making it very easy to understand where they stand. And again, you shouldn't really have a problem with what they're saying. It's pretty simple, and this is just about human rights. And so I just want to give them an attaboy, because not every athlete is comfortable with stepping out and being a target for people that disagree with what they're saying. Some folks just rather not deal with the blowback. But when you are passionate about what you believe in, you have conviction, you don't care. You say what's on your heart. And so I just appreciate Josh Palmer and Trey Smith. It doesn't mean that they're the only two that feel this way, but they are strong enough to be in this lane, which is a lane of being vocal. So attaboy to those guys. I told them I was proud of them, and I got their back. Hour 2 coming up.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. The next thing you know, you're being arrested for DUI. Be responsible, but remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call DUI and criminal defense attorney Marcos Garza. Put this number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty, say Garza. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
When I made the move to my own studio, I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about, hey, did I get this piece of equipment? Did I get that piece of equipment? Does that sound good? Does that not sound good? One thing I didn't have to worry about, that was office furniture, because Office Furniture Outfitters met my furniture needs. With a 50,000 square foot facility, they have East Tennessee's largest selection and are the best value for new and used office furniture. Located in Knoxville, it's easy to find everything you need for your new space, including desks, file cabinets, chairs, conference tables, and more. Office Furniture Outfitters is turnkey. They came to my place, we mapped everything out that was needed, they delivered, and get this, set everything up. To learn more about what Office Furniture Outfitters can do for you, log on to ofonox.com. That's ofonox.com.
Craving flavors that don't take hours in the kitchen? Mrs. Grissom's cheese spreads and chicken salads are the perfect go-to. Ready-to-eat meals and snacks found in the meat or dairy section at your local grocery store. Whether you crave the classic Mrs. Grissom's pimento cheese or the gluten-free select varieties like the cranberry pecan chicken salad, enjoy small-town flavor in every bite. Select the best. Select Mrs. Grissom's.
All right, team, listen up. It's tailgating time again in Tennessee. But most importantly, team, you're going to need to refi that tailgate and the truck it's attached to with a refinanced auto loan with Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union with their Got That promotion. They'll give you up to $500 for your debt. Are you serious, Coach? That's right, Johnny. Alcoa 10 will pay you up to $500 for your debt. Now, let's get out there and spread the word. Say it with me. Alcoa 10, Alcoa 10, Alcoa 10.
ATFCU is an equal housing lender.
Touchdown or Turnover is backed by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
It is time for a touchdown turnover, backed by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong, better rates and better service. ATFCU.com is the website there. Tennessee has been recruiting the top corner in the country for months and 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 months.
Tony Grimes.
And that corner made a selection. That player made a selection to a basketball school. He is from Virginia Beach, where there's so many ballers that come from that little area. It's not even funny, but Tony Grimes picked North Carolina over Georgia, over Ohio State, over Texas A&M. Touchdown turnover. You like his selection? Touchdown turnover. You like his selection?
Turnover. It's North Carolina. I mean, I guess his position, he can go to a place like North Carolina and still have a great amount of success. You've seen great defensive backs go to Virginia and Virginia Tech, play lights out for 3 years, be first round, second round draft picks, and play a long time in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he can necessarily pick a bad school, because not that North Carolina is bad, but he can pick a non-traditional football power and go there and have success because of the position that he plays. I mean, at corner, you don't need great team success to have individual success. If you're Harrison Bailey, you want to go somewhere that probably going to have a good offensive line, or at least you hope that they're going to have a good offensive line. You want to go somewhere that is going to have good receivers, good running backs. If you are a receiver, you want to go somewhere that has good quarterbacks, somebody that can get you the ball. If you're a running back, you want to go somewhere that preferably has an emphasis on running the football and has good linemen. So it's not necessarily a bad decision. And plus, from my understanding, he is super close with North Carolina's defensive backs coach. Matt Brown is there. They are recruiting lights out right now. They're up to number 3 in the country in recruiting. But I say turnover because it would have been more exciting to see him at a blue blood, at a Tennessee, at a Florida, and taking my orange-colored glasses off, saying that Alabama, Ohio State, one of those schools.
I like this move. Here's the reason why I like this move. As simple as it can be. And I think a lot of sports fans would say the same thing. We are tired of the same teams winning. We're tired of the Patriots always winning. Basketball, we got tired of the Warriors winning, even though they did the right way. But we got tired of them winning. We got tired of Alabama winning. We want parity. We want parity. And yes, Tennessee was recruiting Tony Grimes, and it stinks that we were not able to get him. But the next best thing is for him not to go to Georgia, for him to not to go to Alabama, and for him not to go to Florida. That's the next best thing if you're Tennessee. And so I like the move. He's going to North Carolina. North Carolina may be one of those schools that kind of sneaks into that conversation is being a Tier 2 program in football that every 2, 3, 4, 5 years has a chance to make a run. Now, the Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Alabamas of the world, they're going to make their run every single year. But they may stick into that Auburn role where, like, okay, every 3 or 4 years, all right, they're going to make a run because you got to think about their path. The path is not that hard there in the ACC. And if you are a coach in North Carolina and you're not using Michael Jordan to build your program, something is wrong. I got a feeling they're using some Michael Jordan. They got a lot of momentum. I like Matt Brown, so I'm not over here envious or jealous or anything. I want to see new programs emerge. And North Carolina certainly has the resources to make a splash. Can they keep it up? I don't know that. But they have Michael Jordan. They have, in my opinion, the number one apparel company in the world behind them. Did I mention they have Michael Jordan?
Yes.
They have a coach who won national championship.
Michael Jordan may not want to help, though, especially with the football program.
He helped with Larry Fedora, and Larry Fedora was not successful there. So if you're going to help with Larry Fedora, why would you not help to someone who, before he won championship at Texas, he was at North Carolina. So
because Larry Fedora scarred Michael Jordan.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Something's going there.
Something's in the water.
I will say this before we get to the phone. Tony Grimes says, North Carolina came up big time. When I say big time, they came up big time.
I wonder what that means.
I love the whole coaching staff, but I definitely love Coach Mac Brown, Coach Bateman, and Coach Bly, to my Dre Bly, who played in the NFL for a very long time. Played with the Lions. Ugh. He was a good player.
I'm changing my answer.
Get him out of the SEC.
I'm changing my answer. I don't know. My mind was clogged, and I agree with what you were saying.
You had a brain fart?
I had a brain fart. I was watching the phone ring, trying to talk at the same time, trying to hurry up and spit something out.
Oh, man.
But I agree with you. I'm changing my answer to touchdown simply because I would rather him go somewhere where Tennessee is not going to likely play him.
I don't want to see
Simple
this.
as that.
I don't want to see this corner behind defensive ends at Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. That just makes him even better. And no, I don't want to see this guy. So you're not going to be able to escape playing really good players anyways in this conference. But it's okay to see Justin Ross go to Clemson, or in this case Tony Grimes go to North Carolina, or a Master T go to Ohio State. If you're not going to come to Tennessee, go there. Let's go to Elvis on the Swain Event Hotline this morning. Elvis, good morning, sir.
Oh, I didn't know I was on the Swain Event Hotline.
You on the Swain Event Hotline.
Wow.
Hotline bling.
All right. You're not, Jason, you're not going to like what I got to say today.
All right, bring it.
Well, I'll start off with this. I was watching, I don't know, ESPNU, the SEC, one of them networks ESPN got was replaying the Auburn-Oregon game, first game last year.
Mm-hmm.
and this gets to me. It always has. Maybe it's because my coach did it to me, but Auburn had a 2-point conversion coming up to tie the game, and then they got a penalty. Their left tackle, illegal procedure, and so what's his name? What's Auburn's coach's name? Malzahn.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go for the 2. He went for 1. But the camera was on him when that poor boy got to the sidelines. He reamed him out inside and out. And it's like, the boy didn't do it on purpose. He's trying to win as much, maybe more than you, Gus. And he made a mistake. Why you got to, with the camera on him and everything, why you got to call him out like that? Well, anyway, I think the only time you should call a player out is when he ain't giving everything he's got. Not mistakes.
Did he call him out, publicly after the game, or just getting on to him during the game?
It was right after that play. His eyes got big as marbles. He got in the boy's face for what? He made a mistake. Anyway, you disappoint me, Jason, when I think about it, because talking to you and listening to what you got to say, you missed your calling, man. You know how many kids you could have helped if you went into coaching? And it's not just the X's and O's you talk about. It's the psychology and how you approach the game. You would have done a lot of boys some good, but no, you got to be selfish and go on the radio.
Elvis, I appreciate that, man. I think you might have a point. No, you might have a point. I am being selfish.
I'm done today. I'm mad. I got to go.
See you, Elvis. Thank you so much for the phone call. I think when you see coaches jump on kids in the game, I have not seen a coach really go out of bounds, even with Jeremy Pruitt grabbing on Jared Garantano's face mask, which I understood both sides of it. Like, I understood the people who were like, hey, don't do that. You don't need to do that. That's not a good idea to do. That's something that you shouldn't be doing, consistently from now on. But, we live in such sometimes a black and white world, especially when it comes to social media, when it's either this or that and there's nothing in between. Well, when Pruitt grabbed Jared Garantano's, oh my God, when Pruitt grabbed Garantano's face mask, yes, you don't want to see that all the time. But in that particular case, because they have a relationship, Pruitt can do that. Where you can't do that is when you don't have a relationship with somebody. You have made some slick comments here and there, like a Kurt Ferentz at Iowa. Made some slick comments. And you go and grab one of your players' face masks, you might get punched back. You may get pushed down. So, yes, you don't want a coach doing that all the time, but in that particular case, hey, man, you understand. Heat of the moment. We're playing Alabama. It's Tennessee, Alabama. You make a mistake that is selfish. You make a mistake that we clearly worked on 1,000 times and got it right. You make a mistake where effort is the issue, heck yeah, you're going to get jumped on. And you might get embarrassed if the cameras are right there. But I've seen cases where a young man truly made a mistake. He's giving his all in a big game. And as a coach, all you could do is just say, man, sometimes bad things happen, and I appreciate you. I.e., 2013, Georgia, Tennessee.
Pig Howard
played his butt off in that game. He laid it on the line. He gave everything that he had. But when trying to stretch for the touchdown, he fumbled. Now, it wasn't fourth down. He really didn't need to do that. But you can't blame him for his effort. You blame him for the result, the execution. You got to be a little bit smarter in that situation to understand you don't have to dive like that and expose the football if it's not fourth down. If it's fourth down, okay. But I didn't get on to Pig Howard. I appreciated him, and I didn't see any coach get on to him. That's when you put your arm around a young man, you console him, you let him know it's going to be okay, that you still stand by him. But if you mess up in that Oregon-Auburn game, that was a huge game. Whoever won that game, it gave them a chance to truly make a run to a national championship because that was going to be really good for their resume. But if you mess up in a big game because you screwed up the assignment, heck yeah, I'm going to be mad. And heck yeah, I might call you out. That's part of it. That's part of it. When you get out of bounds is when you start calling people out of their name and maybe you question his manhood and you go in there. That's when you have a problem. Or you're putting your hands on the player in the wrong way. That's when you have a problem. But no, it's football. It happens. It happens. Butch Jones handled that right with Pig Howard. He did a great job handling that situation. Coach Pruitt will be on Dan Patrick this morning. So national radio show there with NBC Sports. And I can't wait to hear what Pruitt has to say representing Tennessee. 865-255-03. Hour 2 is brought to you by Alumni Hall and alumnihall.com.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
While the players are gearing up for the gridiron, it's time for you to get geared up at Alumni Hall. Find the best selection of Nike, Nike Golf, Peter Millar, and all of those retro logos you love. And the 2 for $28 t-shirt deal? Game changer. And don't forget about the rest of your game day crew. There are plenty of options for the entire family and to upgrade that tailgate. Shop now at one of their 6 convenient locations in Tennessee or 24/7 at alumnihall.com. It's football time in Tennessee.
Voted Best Barbecue in City View Magazine and a top 100 barbecue restaurant in the country, Dead End is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering and local delivery with Valet Gourmet. That's right, you can have Dead End brought to you. Can't think of the spread for your next event? Get Dead End to cater it. Check them out online, deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss stem cell treatment and PRP. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, Achilles tendonitis, or tennis elbow, you should give them a call.
That's right, Jason. We specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints by using ultrasound-guided injections with stem cells or PRP. And this form of treatment actually stimulates the body's own reparative process and allows for healing of the damaged tissue.
So, Doc, what makes your training different than others?
Well, Jason, I've been practicing in Knoxville for 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. So unlike the big seminars that will advertise stem cells, fly someone in for a couple hours to talk about supposed stem cells that you order off of a shelf, then they'll depart, leaving the patient wondering who will be the person injecting me and what their level of training is. At Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own bone marrow stem cells or PRP. So in other words, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, trsportsmedicine.com. East Tennessee's leader in PRP and stem cell therapy.
Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what's hotter than Tennessee recruiting? That's right, the local real estate market. Things are still moving and shaking, so when you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give me a call. Jennifer Morris at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
Do you want a custom themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Well, look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. Every design has you, the fan, in mind. Their tumblers and bottles are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the market. From stainless steel sippy cups to tumblers and sports bottles, Game Time Sidekicks offers something for the fan of all ages to rep their team with. They have many different logo options, so fans will have something they are proud to carry around all the time. Use promo code SWAIN at checkout to get 20% off of your entire purchase at GameTimeSidekicks.com. They also offer $5 flat rate shipping. Be sure to check out the Game Time Workshop on the website and customize your tumbler to make it one of a kind with things like your nickname, number, or initials. Game Time Sidekicks. Show your colors and carry your team.
You don't have to take an L just because you can't listen to the Swain event live. You can catch up on the podcast posted daily on the app, online, and on iTunes.
Hitting up the text box this morning, Justin says we lost Chevalier Price. Ingram Dawkins is trending towards North Carolina. Munden and Mims are headed to Georgia. Not finishing strong.
Let's break down those names mentioned. Chevalier Price is at NC State because his family wants him at NC State with his brother. I believe the brother's name is Jaden Tate. Tennessee, because the kid is 5'9", did not feel like it was worthy of offering him a scholarship to play defensive line, which is what NC State did. Chevalier Price wanted to come to Tennessee, but family wanted him at NC State with his brother because his brother was offered a scholarship. Tennessee offered the kid a preferred walk-on spot to play fullback, but again, at 5'9", they did not want him playing on the defensive line in the SEC. So that's why you lose Chevalier Price. If he has no brother, he's committed to Tennessee. So I don't know how much you can place blame on the staff for that one. Terry and Ingram Dawkins, Austin Price has continued to say that, that's Tennessee's in the thick of things.
I thought that was a Tennessee-South Carolina battle, but has North Carolina jumped in there and made a play for him just like they did with Tony Grimes?
He has a bunch of South Carolina or North Carolina commits that are buddies of his. Remember, that's when Ra was brought up. So, maybe North Carolina is gaining steam there, but Tennessee's still in the thick of it for him, and they still have a solid chance of landing him. And then Smile Munden and Amarius Mims, maybe they do end up at Georgia, but did we really expect Tennessee to land those guys to begin with?
I expect Tennessee to be exactly in the position that they're in, which is top three for these top prospects. And I think depending on certain factors is whether you actually land these guys or not. But Tennessee, you're going to lose battles with your competitors. You are. You are going to lose battles. And Tennessee's losing less of those battles now than they did when they first got here, and they'll lose less when they start winning more. But Ohio State loses battles, Alabama loses battles, Clemson loses battles. Players flip from Bama to Texas and Bama to other places, and so I'm not going to sit here and say that Justin is wrong by saying that Tennessee's not finishing strong. I just wouldn't say we're not finishing strong because it's just July the 1st. We just had a really strong start, and there's still a ton of time between now and signing day. And it's not like Tennessee is struggling right now in recruiting. Like, we're in a really good spot.
They've already put in the work.
Yeah, we're in a spot to where we're very selective about who we add. And that's the luxury of starting fast and starting hot. You know, when you are running 110 yards, we should do 110s. The best way to do it is to sprint the first 45 yards, and then you can coast the rest to make your time. What you don't want to do is start slow and then try to speed up at the 50-yard line to make up that time. That's what you don't want to do. And so for Tennessee, they have sprinted those 40 to 50 yards. And now they can be really selective about who they take, about who they spend their time with, to upgrade this class from where it is right now. So I don't know if not finishing strong is the most accurate thing to say, just because Tennessee's in a pretty dang good spot, man. Still top 5, still number 1 ranked in the SEC, and you're having to turn down people because you don't have room. You know, someone is committing today.
And Justin comes back and says we need defensive line and offensive linemen. That is more of an appropriate statement. I just don't think the examples that he gave are just great examples of Tennessee swinging and missing in this class. To me,
or not finishing strong.
Correct. I don't even think that should be uttered right now because it's July. I don't think that's a sentence that you can utter until signing day.
Yeah, or, a week or two before early signing period, because usually you get those commitments. So let's say Tennessee has a board of 10 guys that they're trying to fill 3 spots with, right? And their top 10 guys, it doesn't matter what position it is. Well, let's say they strike out on 8 of them. 8 of them commit somewhere else with a week or two left before early signing period. Then, okay, you can start saying, all right, man, maybe these guys are not finishing strong. But even at that point, you still have your class 99% built already. So, 95% built. So I just think it's early to say that they were not finishing strong in July, but the name of the game is to win these recruiting battles against your opponents, and they may lose that one to Georgia with the Marius Mims. They may lose that one with Smile Munden to Georgia, but you got to go win some of the other battles. In this previous class, they were able to do that. 2 classes prior, they were able to do that with Darnell Wright and Wanye and Henry To'o. And so the more you win, the more those battles you're going to win. But even national championship teams are going to lose recruiting battles because winning is just not the determining factor all the time for a prospect. Being able to play the first day you step on campus is maybe important. For North Carolina, I can see the same pitch that Tennessee is selling. I can see North Carolina selling the same pitch. Hey, man, come build something special. Imagine if you help build a winner in North Carolina, how huge your legacy will be, how big your brand is going to be. Anybody can go to Ohio State and just jump on the wagon and go win. Anybody can go jump on Alabama and go win. You just be another name, another number. I mean, it's crazy, but like a Mark Ingram, when he comes back to school, he don't get the same love as a Deshaun Watson. He don't get the same love as a C.J. Spiller at Clemson. He doesn't get the same love as maybe a Mike Williams. Why? Because there's been so many players that have come out of Alabama to go to NFL and be successful. But if you're Tony Grimes and you win in North Carolina, oh my gosh, you're
a legend.
You're a legend. You are a freaking legend. So that is attractive to some recruits, man. To be a part of something special to where you are responsible for building it, not just jumping on. So, I saw Cody Brown tweet out a graphic that Tennessee dropped for him. Dude.
Sweet at it.
I almost wanted to commit again.
I know.
But let me finish. Okay. Cody Brown's tweet was a graphic that Tennessee did, and it had Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, First Take on the desk at the ESPN set, and it had Cody Brown in the background, and they were discussing. Well, the edit was them discussing Cody Brown's greatness at Tennessee, and it talked about like the brand. I'm trying to pull up the tweet right now, but it mentioned brand.
I think his Twitter name is CB7.
Oh, that's easy.
Potentially.
Yep. Underscore Cody W. Brown. But yeah, CB7 is the name there. And here's a graphic. The topic, CB7 is the next big brand in college football. One of the top prospects in the country is ready to take his game to the next level for the Volunteers. So this edit is, this edit is serious. I want to commit right now to Tennessee. But brand, this is what schools are selling now, man. They're selling brand. And if you're North Carolina, you have a pretty strong brand to sell.
Yep, Jordan Brand.
You got a pretty strong brand to sell. So my point is, it's different strokes for different folks, and it's way too early to say that Tennessee is not finishing strong. That's all.
Yes, and along with that, it doesn't mean Tennessee is recruiting perfectly either, because there are some concerns and some things that make you raise your eyebrow. It's in totality, Tennessee fans should be happy with Tennessee's recruiting at the moment, considering where the program currently is. But there are things that are going to need to change moving forward or become better at, and I think that'll be a byproduct of winning on the football field. Kind of like how Rick Barnes needed to win on the basketball court before he was able to truly land some of these elite prospects. But Justin comes back and says that we need defensive linemen and offensive linemen. We are not doing well there. I disagree in terms of defensive linemen, because you have Dylan Brooks, one of the best defensive ends in the country. You have Trinity Bell, an athletic freak who can play tight end or any of the defensive line positions. You have Darryl Jackson, a defensive end that's committed. We'll see if he sticks to the class. And then at defensive tackle, you have Katron Evans and Isaac Washington, two guys that Tennessee staff is really high on, and they're going to have to continue to fight for those guys. So at defensive line, solid right now. Edge rusher is a little bit of a concern. You do have Terrence Lewis. You'll have to continue to hold on to him. Aaron Willis is an inside guy. That's where Tennessee projects him to play. So maybe you do want to add another edge rusher, which is why you've seen them go out and try to land Javari Ritzie and Travali Price and guys like that. Offensive line has been a struggle. That is offensive line and corner has been the eyebrow raising concerns for me this class, because offensive line, there's been several guys that they have swung and missed on, and guys in state. Jamarion Gooch right down the road at the Kings Academy. He's going to Auburn as of right now. At least he's committed to Auburn. And there's been other guys that they haven't been able to stay in the mix with. There's been guys that you thought Tennessee would have a good chance at landing, and so far they have not been able to land their commitment. And then at corner, you would think that Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley would be able to go out and land an elite corner just based off of their pedigree and their coaching resume, but they haven't been able to do that to this point, like a Tony Grimes type of corner. They've gone out and gotten Bryce Thompson and Alante Taylor and guys like that, but a truly elite corner coming out of high school, they've yet to land that in terms. And granted, that's based off recruiting rankings. Maybe their rankings are completely different inside the walls of the program. But I just think, like you said, Swain, it's just too early to have this much concern for a class at the end of the day that ranks top 5 nationally on all 3 publications. It's July. There are some concerns, but overall, you should be happy with the class right now.
Certainly want to address offensive line, but you look at Tennessee's offensive line situation, Tennessee is so stacked that they're thinking about possibly allowing one of their potential starters to redshirt. That's something that's an option if there's no injuries and Cade Mays is eligible. That's a position that Tennessee has not been in a long time, where you have a stockpile of offensive linemen, and it's going to be really tough to get on the football field, where Tennessee may have a backup who could start at another SEC school. That's where you want to be with really every position on your roster. You want to be able to say, yeah, our backups will start at this school. And I think offensive line for Tennessee can say that. But I look at, some of the top corners in the country this past season, and Georgia had the number one corner, and Keely Ringo. LSU signed the second best corner. Florida signed the seventh best corner. Georgia signed the eighth best corner this past season. I don't know exactly what they have done in their freshman season. It's probably why those schools are good, because they don't have to rely on a ton of freshmen. But
those guys haven't played yet.
Yeah, they haven't really needed to rely on a true freshman to come in and play. They maybe don't have that playing time to offer early. But if I look at the 2019 top cornerbacks, we know what Derek Stingley is doing there at LSU. He's arguably probably the best corner in the country.
He is the best corner.
As coming in as a sophomore. Tyreek Stevenson was a third-rated corner there in the 2019 class. He went to Georgia. Chris Steele, Florida, and then Kyron Alam Ingram there at Florida.
He's going to be the starting corner opposite of Marco Wilson this year.
Yeah, so, I mean, you want to look at recruiting rankings and wonder, okay, man, how is Pruitt and Derek Ansley not attracting more of these top-tier corners in the country? The answer is I don't know.
I think it's a mix of things, and mainly I think it's just Tennessee needs to win a little bit more to go get those guys. I truly think it's very similar to the path that Rick Barnes was on, and I've said this numerous times that when Rick Barnes took over as the third coach in 3 years, what basketball player wants to go play for that program? And Tennessee football is in a different situation than that, but Tennessee football has not been attractive over the last decade. And in order to make it attractive, you have to win a little bit more on the football field on Saturdays.
Yeah, going to DR Vol, the top 10 corners in the 2019 class, looks like only 2 of them went to a program that didn't go to a bowl game. So Michigan State got the 8th rated corner, and then Florida State got the 7th rated corner. Everybody else went to LSU, Clemson, Georgia, Florida, Oregon, Alabama. So give us a call back, DR Vol. We are headed to our bottom of the hour break here at the Swain event. Be right back.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
While the players are gearing up for the gridiron, it's time for you to get geared up at Alumni Hall. Find the best selection of Nike, Nike Golf, Peter Millar, and all of those retro logos you love. And the 2 for $28 t-shirt deal? Game changer. And don't forget about the rest of your game day crew. There are plenty of options for the entire family and to upgrade that tailgate. Shop now at one of their 6 convenient locations in Tennessee or 24/7 at alumnihall.com. It's football time in Tennessee.
Voted Best Barbecue in City View Magazine and a top 100 barbecue restaurant in the country, Dead End is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering and local delivery with Valet Gourmet. That's right, you can have Dead End brought to you. Can't think of the spread for your next event? Get Dead End to cater it. Check them out online, deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss stem cell treatment and PRP. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, Achilles tendonitis, or tennis elbow, you should give them a call.
That's right, Jason. We specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints by using ultrasound-guided injections with stem cells or PRP. And this form of treatment actually stimulates the body's own reparative process and allows for healing of the damaged tissue.
So, Doc, what makes your training different than others?
Well, Jason, I've been practicing in Knoxville for 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. So unlike the big seminars that will advertise stem cells, fly someone in for a couple hours to talk about supposed stem cells that you order off of a shelf, then they'll depart, leaving the patient wondering who will be the person injecting me and what their level of training is. At Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own bone marrow stem cells or PRP. So in other words, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, trsportsmedicine.com. East Tennessee's leader in PRP and stem cell therapy.
Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what's hotter than Tennessee recruiting? That's right, the local real estate market. Things are still moving and shaking, so when you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give me a call. Jennifer Morris at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
Do you want a custom themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Well, look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. Every design has you, the fan, in mind. Their tumblers and bottles are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the market. From stainless steel sippy cups to tumblers and sports bottles, Game Time Sidekicks offers something for the fan of all ages to rep their team with. They have many different logo options, so fans will have something they are proud to carry around all the time. Use promo code SWAIN at checkout to get 20% off of your entire purchase at GameTimeSidekicks.com. They also offer $5 flat rate shipping. Be sure to check out the Game Time Workshop on the website and customize your tumbler to make it one of a kind with things like your nickname, number, or initials. Game Time Sidekicks. Show your colors and carry your team.
You don't have to take an L just because you can't listen to the Swain event live. You can catch up on the podcast posted daily on the app, online, and on iTunes.
Let's get to the Swain event hotline this morning. Let's bring in D.R. Vol. D.R. Vol, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Two things. First one, with the recruiting. You know, Swain, with your kids, how one day they can be good, and you say, "Oh, let's go buy you a toy," and then you get home and you ask them 30 times, then you have to tell them, then whip them to clean the room up. But you buy them that toy, "Oh, I love you, Daddy, so much." Then you whip them, "I hate you, Daddy, so much." Do you think we're kind of overreactionary about recruiting like that? Like, they're done so good that if we lose one recruit, it seems like a portion of the fan base, like, "Oh, we're not going to finish strong."
I think there's some that feel that way. I think with Justin here, he's not wrong in saying, okay, Tennessee looks like they're gonna strike out on 2, 3, 4 of their top prospects here the next couple of weeks. You know, what's going on there? Like, I think it's okay to wonder, all right, what's going on? But at the same time, you have to understand Tennessee we don't have a ton of spots, and you have to be very selective about, you know, the guys that you go out and spend time and energy into. Amarius Mims and Smile Munden are two guys you certainly want, but they're in Georgia, and Georgia's going to win some of those battles too. You're going to win some battles in Georgia as well. You're not going to win all of them. They're not going to win all of them. That's just kind of part of the game. And it's just really early to say that Tennessee is not closing strong, because signing day is December and, you know, February. It's not the end of this month. So this is not even the closing time at all. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have some overreaction when it comes to recruiting. Come on now. We got fans that tweet recruits thinking that it's going to help the school land these players. So if you got that going on, you better believe there's going to be some emotional overreaction.
Yeah, they're the same. I think they're the same ones that tweet our players that get offended, that call everybody snowflakes, but get offended by what our players say, want to be treated equal as well.
Ooh.
You know it's true.
It is true.
And I kind of want to bounce off that, Ben, of what you said. You know, we're talking about critiquing the recruiting class. One big thing I've seen a complaint is the lack of in-state. Now, I don't know what the in-state talent looks like this year, but I don't know if it was Steve Wilfong or Barton Simmons or whoever said next year may be the strongest class Tennessee's had.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a big critique, Ben? Because we kind of want to establish those relationships if the in-state recruiting is going to be that good, don't you think?
I would think it is a big critique of Tennessee if Jeremy Pruitt had liked, loved the players coming out of the state the past 2 recruiting cycles, and including this recruiting cycle. The state just has not been strong. So I honestly think that it's been smart on Jeremy Pruitt to not place an emphasis on in-state players just for the sake of placing an emphasis on in-state players, because some of them, they may have been ranked highly by recruiting services, but they weren't ranked highly by Jeremy Pruitt and his coaching staff. So let's not go out and get those players just because they are in-state players. That was something that Butch Jones did. Butch Jones had assistant coaches tell him that, hey, this player isn't a 4-star, isn't a 5-star, but Butch Jones did not want to lose out on public perception, so he would bring those players in anyways. But you are right about next year's class. Next year's in-state crop and even 2023, really, really, really strong. And I think you'll see Jeremy Pruitt and his staff make more of an emphasis in-state because the players will be better. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, and I don't care if we get them from Hawaii or wherever, but as long as we win. But I wondered how that would affect, because again, a lot of recruiting is perception. So I wonder how that would affect the perception when he tries to stay in-state a little more next year.
No, I think Diarval, thanks so much for the phone call, buddy. I think as long as you are honest with the prospects and you have an honest and open dialogue with the high school coaches, which I think Pruitt has that. Remember, he is a former high school coach, so he's able to communicate with those guys a little bit better than maybe a college coach would. The things I've heard about the coaching clinics and things like that from high school coaches, I mean, Pruitt really can identify with the high school coaches, and he has good relationships with them. Talking X's and O's, he goes out of his way to really explain things and shares his philosophy and shares, notes that will help high school coaches and prospects. This is the same guy that will critique prospects coming in, even if they are not coming to Tennessee. That's just who he is as a football coach. He wants to help players and coaches be better because he has just love for football. He respects the game. It's what I have gathered, kind of witnessing Coach Pruitt over the last couple of years and how he's handled his interactions with high school prospects and high school coaches. The number one objective, what is the number one objective
in recruiting
for Tennessee as a football program?
Win.
Number one objective, right? And you need some things to be able to do that. The most important thing you need is
players.
It shouldn't matter where they come from. Now, ideally, you want the best players from your state to sign and they represent the state and you win big. That is the dream scenario. That is Vince Young going to Texas, winning a championship for Texas. That's awesome. That's a dream scenario. That is Jeff Hall being from Tennessee and kicking a game winner in I think it was a Syracuse game, and then going and winning a championship. That is a perfect scenario, right? Hometown boy wins for the hometown team at the highest level. It's great. Jerome Bettis winning a Super Bowl for the Steelers in Detroit. But it don't always work out that way.
Just let it be known that's the third time you've brought up the Steelers this week, and I did not.
You need to win. And I think if you win, guess what's going to happen with those younger high school and middle school kids in Tennessee? They're going to start liking Tennessee. They're going to start liking Tennessee.
It'll be easy to recruit them.
Correct. You don't have to pull teeth to get them to come on a visit. You don't have to convince them of where you're going to be. They're already there. It is, hey, you want to be on board or not? That's how it was in the late 90s and 2000s with Coach Foreman. Swain event. Be right back.
For what is coming up on the Swain event.
All right, team, listen up. It's tailgating time again in Tennessee. But most importantly, team, you're going to need to refi that tailgate and the truck it's attached to with a refinanced auto loan with Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union with their Got That promotion. They'll give you up to $500 for your debt. Are you serious, Coach? That's right, Johnny. Alcoa 10 will pay you up to $500 for your debt. Now, let's get out there and spread the word. Say it with me. Alcoa 10, Alcoa 10, Alcoa 10.
ATFCU is an equal housing lender.
When you see the happy face on our truck, you'll be smiling because you'll know that you're in love.
At Hiller, we care about your family's comfort all year long. If you get caught without air conditioning this summer, we're offering a free service call with any repair. That's a free service call when we do the work on your HVAC system. Visit happyhiller.com to schedule your appointment today.
Call the happy face truck today.
There are articles and news stories that you read about the things that people do. And when you're reading those and you start to shake your head, you start to scratch your head a little bit. You get confused. You don't understand why. You start to ask questions. But really, there's only one question that matters. What is that question, you may ask?
For what?
Definitely want to get back to this DB conversation here on the Swain event. Tennessee football recruiting. I think it's a good one, and I have a few notes that I wrote down during the break that I want to make sure that we get to. But it is time for what? And Ben, you have a for what for us. So what you got?
Going to Louisiana for my for what today, because a man decided to go for a swim in a Louisiana Bass Pro Shops aquarium. Yes. At the popular fishing, hunting shop, the big aquarium that those shops tend to have, a man in Slidell, Louisiana, 26 years old, is the latest to go swimming in one of those aquariums. He's been charged with simple criminal damage to property. He seems to be guilty since he's been sharing a GoFundMe to help pay his fines.
Nah, man, you gonna pay your own fines for being stupid.
Correct. From the local news report there, KTAL, Louisiana police say they are trying to identify the man who slid into the aquarium at Bass Pro Shops in, I'll probably say this wrong, Bossier City? I don't know.
Probably Bossier.
Probably.
If it's Louisiana.
On Thursday and took a swim before climbing out and running out of the store. According to authorities, a complaint was filed Friday morning after the business determined that there would be costs associated with emptying and cleaning the 13,000-gallon aquarium, which features species of fish local to the region.
That reminds me of like the fan that decides to jump out on the football field or the baseball diamond and start running around. Sometimes we've seen fans do it while not having any clothes on. Like what goes off in your mind? It's like, yo, I'm about to do that. Like, I'm going to do that. I mean, is it alcohol? Is it drugs? It must be something. Like, what sober person is like, you know what? I'm gonna jump into that aquarium. Like, nothing good is going to come from that.
At all.
Like, at all. Nothing. Sometimes we make bad decisions, but we make bad decisions because on the other side, there's a benefit. You know, like, you running late. You got a 20-minute drive, you're running late. Speeding will help me get there on time. But if I get pulled over, I'm going to get a ticket. Like, at least there's a benefit attached to the speeding, right? I'm gonna make some time. Jumping into an aquarium, what is the benefit? Besides, maybe you hot, maybe you need to cool off, but get your butt in your car and turn on your AC. Or go get a slushie or something. Just Unreal there.
I have a statistic that just popped up on my timeline that is for what worthy.
Mm-hmm.
From Pat Smith of Pat Smith Radio, says that he is the co-creator of the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Mm-hmm.
Works WJOX, a station you are familiar there with in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
On this day in 2012, Texas A&M and Missouri officially joined the SEC. Would you like to know the conference records of each team since Missouri and Texas A&M joined the league?
No, I don't, because that was what 2012 was their first year. Nope.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyways. Alabama 57-7, Georgia 48-16, LSU 44-20, Florida 41-23, A&M 34-30, Auburn 33-31, Carolina 31-33, as is Mississippi State, Missouri 30-34, Ole Miss 25-39, Tennessee, which ranks 11th in terms of conference records since Missouri and A&M joined the league, 22-42.
They call Rommel. They can't find Rommel.
Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas are the bottom three teams. Kentucky 20-44, Vanderbilt 19-45, and Arkansas 13-51. There's a little more insight as to why Tennessee may struggle to land some elite recruits at the moment.
Pruitt told me that this is going to be a decade of the Vols. That's all I know.
Tennessee's 1-0 this decade. A six-game winning streak that is second longest in the SEC.
The most important thing is to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the objective of the game. Looking at Tennessee's corners, and we're up against the top of our break here, but looking at Tennessee's corners and what we have been able to do in recruiting the last couple of years, it really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Tennessee in 2018 did not recruit a top 20 corner. In 2019 did not recruit a top 25 corner and only had one corner listed in the top 50 of position rankings. What does that even mean? 2020 recruiting class, Tennessee did not have anyone in the top 25, either in top 50. So what does that even mean? What does that mean? It means a lot of things. And I'll share with you what does that mean when we start hour number 3 here on the other side of the break. What does that mean, man? Tennessee in the last 3 recruiting classes, only one player in the top 25 out of 150 positional corners in the positional rankings. Tennessee's only gotten one in the last 3 years. What does that even mean? Swain event. Be right back.
Hour 3 of the Swain event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Guys, Low T Center is open for normal business hours, including Saturdays. Their goal is to help you be the best and healthiest version of you. And right now, if you are concerned with social distancing, Low T Center can help with at-home treatment options for current patients. And they also have great options for new patients too. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy to take care of your health. most health insurance is accepted. They'll even help verify it for you. And just a reminder, if you're feeling bad, have a fever, or travel to high-risk areas, please stay home. If you'd like to learn more about getting a comprehensive health assessment, be sure to call 865-392-1388. That's 865-392-1388. Or you can schedule an appointment online at lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. While the players are gearing up for the gridiron, it's time for you to get geared up at Alumni Hall. Find the best selection of Nike, Nike Golf, Peter Millar, and all of those retro logos you love. And the 2 for $28 t-shirt deal? Game changer. And don't forget about the rest of your game day crew. There are plenty of options for the entire family and to upgrade that tailgate. Shop now at one of their 6 convenient locations in Tennessee or 24/7 at alumnihall.com. It's football time in Tennessee.
Voted Best Barbecue in City View Magazine and a top 100 barbecue restaurant in the country, Dead End is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering and local delivery with Valet Gourmet. That's right, you can have Dead End brought to you. Can't think of the spread for your next event? Get Dead End to cater it. Check them out online, deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Do you want a custom-themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Then look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. All of their bottles and tumblers are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the tumbler market. New this year are their stemless 12-ounce tumblers, perfect for repping your team while enjoying your favorite wine. They also have new 3-in-1 jackets to use as a koozie for a can or bottle, or you can pop a lid on it and use it as a 12-ounce tumbler or coffee cup. Be sure to check out everything Game Time Sidekicks has to offer at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Game Time Sidekicks, helping fans show your colors and carry your team with unique gear you will actually use.
Hour 3 of the Swain event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Eight 255-03 is our telephone number. If you want to give us a call here on the Swain Event Hotline. The last 3 classes for Tennessee, according to 247, Tennessee has gotten 1 top 50 player in 3 years. So 150 of the top rated corners in 3 years, Tennessee has gotten 1. And that was in 2019 with Tyus Fields, who was ranked the 26th best corner according to 247. What does that even mean?
And now he's playing safety at Tennessee.
What does that mean? Does that mean that Tennessee is not doing a good job recruiting corners? Does it mean that? Because when I look at Tennessee's roster, when I look at their depth chart, when I look at what Tennessee has done this past season and will look to do this season, I ask myself, does it really matter that in the last 3 years in recruiting that Tennessee has only signed 1 corner that was listed in the top 50? Does it matter? And I'm approaching no.
Let me ask you this before you continue. How do you view Bryce Thompson and Alontae Taylor were recruited to play corner, but they were not listed or ranked as a corner on 247's website. They were ranked as athletes, if I remember correctly. I know Alontae Taylor was because
receiver in high school.
Exactly. There's the conversation of, okay, is he going to play receiver or is he going to play corner?
Yeah, he was a receiver in high school.
And there was a little bit of that conversation with Bryce Thompson, but we pretty much knew he was going to play corner.
Bryce was also Just an amazing athlete there, Dutch Fort. And if he played receiver, he would have been a really good receiver too. I remember his highlight film and his ability to change directions and be very, very elusive. He would have been a good corner too. But
Bryce Thompson was the 19th best athlete coming out of high school according to 247's rankings. And I don't have Alante in front of me, but I do know he was ranked as an athlete. Alante he was actually ranked as a wide receiver by 247, the 49th best wide receiver. And I think that this is where you were going with that, but you look at the rankings that you mentioned at the beginning of this segment, but then you look at Tennessee's roster, and they don't go together. Something is missing. They don't match well. It's not a left hand and a right hand.
No. I mean, because you look at the recruiting rankings at the cornerback position the last couple of years, and you won't see Tennessee. You won't see a lot of Tennessee at all. You'll see one player, and that is Tyus Fields. What you will see is you'll see Florida in there. USC signed 2 in 2018. We remember those guys because we were recruiting them. Remember, that was Elijah Griffin and Isaac Taylor Stewart. I'm looking at OU. I'm looking at Texas, Florida State, signing all these top corners here in 2018. And then, when I go to 2019 and I look at some of the, top corners in the country, I look at LSU. I see Clemson. I see Georgia. I see Oregon. I see Florida. I see Florida State, Michigan State, and Alabama and Texas A&M. They're in the top 10. I see those programs. Nowhere close is Tennessee when it comes to recruiting highly ranked corners. As I look at this past class in 2020, I see Georgia, I see LSU, I see Oregon, I see Florida State, I see Utah, who signed the 5th best corner. I see Clemson, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Michigan, top 10, pretty much the same schools.
But see, here's the difference between Tennessee and those top schools is Tennessee did bring in a great defensive back, but he was not ranked or rated as a corner on 247's site. They brought in Key Lawrence, who is going to start at corner, a top 100 player, a DB that almost every school in the country would take on their roster, but he was viewed as a safety. And he is starting at corner. Danico Slaughter, not a highly ranked guy, 3-star safety, but even he is not going to start at safety. Danico is going to start at nickel. And now, granted, Key Lawrence and Danico, Tennessee kind of views those two as guys that, okay, they start out at one position as true freshmen, and then as their body matures, as they grasp the playbook, as they become accustomed to playing college football, depending on how early they do all of those things, whether it be as a sophomore, whether it be as a senior, at some point they are going to play all around the secondary, kind of like a Minka Fitzpatrick. You can line them up at safety. You can line them up at nickel. You can line them up at either corner spot. So it's funny how, to me, the roster and the rankings don't correlate because Tennessee does have talented DBs on its roster. They just weren't ranked as corners coming out of high school.
You look at Key Lawrence, 247 profile. As a prospect, he's listed as the 80th best player in the country, 6th rated safety, but prospect info, it has his position as corner, whatever. But that's my point. You have a coach and a DB coach that they have a profile that they're looking for. They have a profile. They know what they see. They know what to look for in a corner. And just look at our 2 starting corners. Both of these guys played receiver in high school. Both of these young men can change directions. They have ball skills. They're athletic. They embrace competition. They have an edge. Alante has, a nice wingspan, long arms. So when you look at just the numbers and you go, man, last 3 classes, Tennessee, out of 150 top corners, Tennessee only got 1. And this is supposed to be Jeremy Pruitt, the DB guru, and Derek Ansley, the DB guru. Why are we not attracting more corners? Well, what they're actually doing is actually more impressive than just signing top corners. What they're doing is taking guys that they see in high school by watching film and saying, man, this guy could be a DB for us. He could be really good. Alante Taylor never played corner in his life until he got to Tennessee. And Alante's in a position to make some money this year. Bryce Thompson, he wasn't locked in one position in high school. He's in position to make some money this year. What Tennessee can say that they have done with these 2 guys, maybe the next year they go out and they sign that top 20 corner, top 10 corner, or top 5 corner, or the top corner. But does that guarantee them success? It doesn't. It doesn't. It gives them a really good shot. I mean, Georgia just signed a cornerback that's 6'2", this past year, the 4th rated player in the country, 6'2", 205. And so they coach him up. He should be, Drake Patrick or somebody. He should be. But I just know what we're doing at that position, which is we're looking for guys who can run, who's coachable, who can change directions, who have ball skills, that don't just try to defend the pass, but when the ball's in the air, it's their ball. They feel like it's their ball just as much as the wide receiver's ball. You see DBs that they just want to break the ball up. They just want to make sure their guy doesn't catch the ball. Well, Bryce Thompson, he wants to take the ball
to the house.
He wants to get the pick. You have some guys that simply just play the receiver when the ball's in the air in jump ball situation. They just knock the ball out. You have some DBs that flip their head, body the receiver, box him out, and they go up for the ball because they want the pick. They want the pick. And I just think there's a profile that Pruitt and Ansley is looking for a corner. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you play corner means you fit that profile. This is a profile. You look at, some of Tennessee's latest commits, and the position that they play in high school is not the position that they're most likely going to play in college. Why? Because this staff has a profile for each position.
Yep.
And so when you look at Tennessee's commitments right now, and you look at Trinity Bell from Alabama, I got, friends of mine, connects in Alabama. Trinity Bell is a big-time AAU basketball player, him and Rock Taylor. Trinity Bell was sort of like me, where basketball was going to be it. I'm growing. I mean, he's 6'7". He's showing skills early. You look at his ceiling, you go, man, he's going to be a good basketball player. He's hearing that he's a good basketball player. That's where he's putting his eggs. And then he just starts getting bigger and bigger, and he has all this athleticism. And it's like, hey, man, you need to give football a shot. He gets out there, and he is raw, but he's athletic. And then you see his frame, and you're going, yo, he's going to grow into probably a defensive lineman. Then you take his athleticism, and you're like, yo, if he's playing defensive line for 3 years in high school, there's no way Trinity Bell is just a 3-star. There's no way. So there's a profile for each position, and it doesn't matter what position you play in high school, but if you possess these attributes, you possess these physical traits, we're going to plug you in to play this position, because the experience that this coaching staff has will tell you you don't have to have a set position. We see that you can change directions, that you can jump, you can catch the football. I don't care what the star says. I think you can play wide receiver. T. Martin's going to coach you up. He's going to coach you up and develop you into a really good receiver. And I think that's kind of what's happening with other positions outside of DB. So, my bad. I know we got somebody on the phone. I know you have something to say too.
One quick question, and you can think about it while we talk with Tramel. So the genesis of this conversation is that there's a narrative that Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley should be signing more elite corners just because of their pedigree and their coaching resume. That's the narrative that is somewhat out there. Not a complete narrative that is tossed around by everybody, but there are a few out there that critique Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley for not bringing in highly ranked corners.
I guess.
It exists.
I guess. Yeah.
Do you think it is fair to have that narrative when it's not fair in general, but do you think it is fair to have that narrative when Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley have identified corners in high school? While those players are still in high school, they are highly ranked football players, and Derek Ansley and Jeremy Pruitt have identified those guys as corners, recruited them and bring them in, and then now they are successful at Tennessee, like Alontae Taylor, top 150 player coming out of high school, but was not ranked a corner. Bryce Thompson, a top 100 player coming out of high school, but was not ranked as a corner. And now in this past class, Key Lawrence, a top 100 player, but was not ranked as a corner. So, yes, technically Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley have not signed a Tony Grimes type of player yet that is strictly a corner coming out of high school. But is it still fair to have that narrative that they haven't signed him when they are still identifying corners during the recruiting process that are highly ranked guys and bringing them in?
I'll answer that. It depends on your level of criticism, but to determine if it's fair or not. But that's why you have the Swain event that can talk you through these things and make you and help you understand what truly matters. You have a secondary that was top 3, top 4 in the league in interceptions. And I think they tied with another program in the conference, but at one point Tennessee led the conference in interceptions. You have a secondary that's the strength of this football team. You have a secondary that possibly has 3 guys that can go to the NFL this year. Does it really matter that in the last 3 recruiting cycles that Tennessee only signed 1 top 50 player? Heck no, it doesn't matter. It's the results that matter. That's all that matters. Whoa. Well, your phone breaking up a little bit. Try to say that again.
I'm turning the fan off. That's what it is. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Think so?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay, so if you had a chance to buy a car with no miles on it or a car with mileage on it, you're going to buy the car with no miles on it, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So my analogy, it's kind of simple. You get these guys in and they don't play those positions. We do have gurus as defensive back guys, right?
Correct.
Would you rather bring a kid in that you have to reteach cornerback, or maybe they haven't been taught cornerback like you want to teach cornerback? You have to teach them cornerback all over again. Or you get you a guy that's highly athletic, change the direction like you were saying and all this and this, and he knows nothing. And then you could just maybe give him everything, you know what I'm saying, from start to finish of how you want cornerback play. Instead of change up what somebody else is, because, cornerbacks play different, some teams in high school play off, some of them play press, some of them play sideways. It's different ways, that, some cornerback coaches set up their DBs, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's better to get a guy that's super athletic, that got all the skills that a DB can do, and teach him, from the root to the tooth, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, you get a guy that's a beast, athletically, and you can teach him how to retrain his brain to stop him from doing this and this and that. Because I mean, they just dealt with that dealing with Butcher kids. I bet they pulled their hair out.
No, I understand what you're saying, Tremel. Your phone's starting to act up again. But to make this simple is that you get a player that you have a blank canvas for, but with. You get a player that he doesn't come in with any bad habits that's been taught to him, and then you have to break those bad habits and spend a lot of time breaking those habits. So let's say in high school you have a corner that, he's really good, but in man-to-man coverage, he tends to look at the quarterback way too much. That's a bad habit, man. If you're going to play man-to-man in college, that's a terrible habit. You're going to get burnt. You never should look at the quarterback, not in man. But you take a guy like Alontae Taylor, and he doesn't have any habits because he hasn't played the position. Now you can teach him the correct habits to have moving forward. This is a problem in Texas, Ben. So Texas high school football is so great, and they have these sophisticated stadiums and systems where these young men, kind of like Maryville football here locally, they have a system that's put in place at the Little League level, and they run the same system from Little League to middle school to high school, and they win championships, but they're stuck in the system, right? And they develop habits. Well, colleges get these players from Texas that come from these big-time football programs, but they come in with habits that have been developed in the last 8 years. So now colleges have to break those habits. That happens in Texas. That's one of the downsides of having a state that's so great in football, is that you have many powerhouse programs, and their system is so ingrained in the players' game that when a college gets him, they have to kind of break him apart and then build him back up. That's a really good point by Tremel. 865-255-03. I have an example of exactly what we're talking about. It's going to blow your mind. It is going to blow your mind about evaluation, about seeing a particular trait in a player and projecting them to play a certain position inside of your program, rather than just taking the word of recruiting analysts and the positional rankings that they put players. I got a great example for you coming up after the break.
Hour 3 of the Swain event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Jason Swain here. If you're feeling tired and grumpy, it could be low T or something else like sleep apnea. Low T Center now provides an easy and convenient home sleep test shipped to your home in little as 2 days and receive a CPAP device in little as 4 days. It's never been faster or easier to get tested, and most health insurance is accepted. Now is a great time to take care of yourself while you're being quarantined without sports. To order your sleep test online, just go to lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Home service problems occur, even at the most inconvenient times, like during a health crisis. And Hiller is always here to help you 24/7. As people are social distancing and staying at home on workdays, it's an easier time to take care of home maintenance items that you feel are necessary. And we've put new safety precautions in place, like wearing gloves, avoiding physical contact, new sanitation protocols, and limiting time in your home. We're here for you.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. The next thing you know, you're being arrested for DUI. Be responsible, but remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call DUI and criminal defense attorney Marcos Garza. Put this number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty, say Garza. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man.
Hour 3 here in the Swain Event, powered by Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Jeremy Pruitt is slated to be on the Dan Patrick Show right now. We are doing a live show, so we won't be able to listen. But as soon as that interview is over, I'm pretty sure we'll have those comments, and hopefully we'll have enough time to, discuss what he was able to say there on the Dan Patrick Show.
If not, we'll talk about him in the morning.
Yeah. We'll definitely try to get to it today if we can. 865-255-03. You want an example of looking at a player, looking at his upside, his current physical traits, his strengths, and saying, you know what? Yeah, we see him playing a different position for us. Because that takes evaluation, man. That takes an eye to see a player play one position in high school, but then you see him playing a different position in your program, and he goes on to be successful. Because it's easy to say, yeah, we're gonna take this, this quarterback who is ranked top 10. And he's going to play quarterback. Or say, you know what? I see him playing a different position and maybe even being better. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. How about Isaiah Simmons? From Kansas. How in the heck was he rated the third best player in Kansas? They don't even have good football in Kansas. He should have been the first player in Kansas, or the top-rated player in Kansas. But check this out. Isaiah Simmons, the first-round pick of the Arizona Cardinals, some folks felt like he was the best player in the entire draft. He is the linebacker from Clemson that was everywhere for Clemson in the last 2 or 3 years. He was 451st nationally in the 2016 class. But here's the thing about him. 3-star prospect. He had an elite measurable. What was that elite measurable? That boy can run.
He's long, too, I believe.
Man, he can run. Yeah, absolutely. 6'4". He can run. He was an undersized linebacker coming in and came in as a safety, but he can run. He barely, it was like a photo finish, lost a race to their starting running back, who will be more than likely a first-round pick and a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Travis Etienne.
Barely lost a foot race to Travis Etienne. Barely. This dude's a freak. Physically. How would you feel if Tennessee went in to recruit him and they were like, you know what? Yeah. I don't know, man. You got to get straight on track speed, but safety. No, we're not going to recruit you as safety.
Well, I don't know about the competition you're playing against.
We're just not going to recruit you, period, because you listed as safety and, hey, we don't think you're a good safety. No, you don't do that. What you do is you say, hey, Trinity Bell, hey, man, I know you listed here tight end, but we see you on the basketball court. We see a few plays that you've made in football. We see a guy that we can coach into one of the best defensive players, defensive linemen in this conference in a couple of years. You have that ability. That's what Clemson did with Isaiah Simmons. That's what Tennessee did with recent second-round pick, Dale Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Coach Zani recruited him.
Wasn't he playing receiver in high school?
Pumped Darrell Taylor played receiver in high school. He was barely 220 pounds. Barely 220 pounds. I remember. Because we had a conversation about him on this show and what the plan was for him to be in 2 years, which was to develop physically, maintaining the speed, maintaining the agility, maintaining the quickness, but physically developing into a defensive lineman that can physically hold his own in the trenches. And that's exactly what happened with Darrell Taylor. So you're not always going to go out and sign the number one wide receiver in high school and then him come in and be a number one receiver for you. You're not always going to sign the number one running back or the number one linebacker, and he comes in and he's that player for you. You're going to have to evaluate. You're going to have to say, hey, man, this guy can obviously run with the football. That's great, cool, whatever. But in the few plays we saw him play linebacker, we think he can be an all-conference linebacker.
Derek Barnett, Tennessee's all-time leading sack getter, was not ranked the number one defensive end coming out of high school. He wasn't even top 5.
What was he ranked?
He was a 4-star. I do know that. I don't remember the specific numbers, but I know he wasn't number 1.
I remember him being a tight end and
I think he played both at
crushing.
Brentwood.
He was the 13th rated strong side defensive end.
Yeah, Tennessee had to fight off Missouri for him, which makes sense because at that time Missouri under Gary Pinkel had Michael Sam, Coney Ely, Marcus Golden, several top defensive ends that were playing in the NFL. But you would think somebody like Derek Barnett, the school's all-time leading sacker, was ranked like the number one player coming out, the number one defensive end coming out, the number 2 defensive end, something like that. But it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, give me the results, man. I don't care if a kid's ranked in the top 10 in position rankings. If he comes in and he's not good, what benefit do you gain? You don't gain any. The result is all that matters. So I don't care if he's ranked in the top 5 in his position or if he's not ranked or if he's ranked in another position. Get players in here that are winners. And in the corner, that's what Tennessee has. They got 2 corners that didn't play corner primarily in high school. Cool. Cool. I mean, in a perfect world, you would want the number 1 player in the position to come in and go be All-American as a freshman and leave in 3 years because that's cool. I mean, you can use that in recruiting and attract other great players. But the next best thing is exactly what Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ainsley's doing. Is taking guys that never played the position and developing them into all-conference players and NFL players. That's the next best thing. Let's get to the phones, and I'm reading this correctly, Coy or Cody?
Coy, but real quick, Jeremy Pruitt did say
all right
this morning, it says Fox Sports Radio. Don't know what show he did with Fox this morning, but Tennessee's player count with COVID remains at 0. So good news for Tennessee football.
Cool. Maybe Pruitt is making his rounds on national radio today.
Guess so.
Yeah. Coy, good morning.
Morning, Swain. Ben, how y'all doing, man?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Just wanted to kind of ask you about something I've been thinking about, and me and my friends have kind of been debating over the last few weeks. You know, if we go forward and have football this season, and say there aren't fans in the stands or nowhere near the amount of fans in the stands that we would normally have, how big of an impact do you see? I mean, first of all, I imagine, you look forward your whole life to running out of the tunnel to your first game, and you got those fans cheering, and that's just something that the freshmen will miss out on this year. But do you think that could, improve freshman play, not having to worry about the fans? Would veteran players not be able to get up as much, not having the fans? How do you see that affecting, young underclassmen and then veteran players as well?
That's a really good question. Just the fan presence at games. I think football is a sport where, the fans will have an impact on, especially opposing offenses and the snap count and forcing delayed games and forcing false starts. Absolutely. Football is a game that you're going to play with a tremendous amount of intensity regardless of who's in the stands because you're going to get yourself hurt. You have to have intensity to play this game and play it at a high level. Fans are not. But to answer your question about the freshmen, I think it can benefit the freshmen not to have the fans there because you shouldn't have those nerves. Now you're going to be nervous, period, because you're playing college football and you're playing
on TV.
You're playing against guys that you watched on TV
playing
the year
against grown
before.
men.
Yeah, so there's going to be a sense of nerves, but that element of the fans, that's something you don't have to worry about, and I think that can benefit the young guys to where it's just perfect. It's just alignment and assignment. You don't have to worry about distractions of the crowd. As far as upperclassmen, I don't really know where to go with that. I think they are at a point of their careers where they have a job to do, and they've been in the trenches. They've been in those battles. They've experienced going and traveling and playing at other stadiums. So they're kind of prepared to block out the noise. But now that there's not going to be as much, let's say there's not any fans in the stands, I don't think it's going to bother them all that much at all, or affect them all much at all either. So I think it's going to. I think it's.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just really feel bad for those freshmen. Like I was saying, that I feel like that's something you just look forward to your whole. Once hey, I'm going to go play at the next level, running out through that tunnel, and especially at Tennessee, running through the Power T, and just missing out on that. I feel like that's just something that's really going to be taken away from them, and they'll get it back at some point. But I just feel like that would be a major letdown for myself, if I was in that position.
Yeah, man. I think quarterbacks will have a field day.
I agree with you, Swain. I think it's to the benefit of freshmen, young players playing for the first time that, there will still be those nerves of playing, but you won't be overwhelmed by opposing crowds. So I guess it kind of works both ways in the sense of it'll benefit Tennessee on the road at Oklahoma, but it'll also benefit Alabama and Florida when they come to Neyland. So, but I do agree with you. I think that's one, like T. Hodge, who looks like he's going to have an opportunity to play early. He can just go in there and focus on his job. And if JG or whoever is the quarterback has to, kind of whisper in his ear or tell him something for a particular play, it'll be easy to communicate that. You don't have to worry about the crowd blocking out that noise if you've got a true freshman in there against Florida at the end of September.
Yeah, it's gonna help the players probably more than hurt the players without having the crowd there. To be honest, if you had to pick one or the other, the home crowd won't have much of an advantage, but they'll be able to communicate, and it'll be like a very intense scrimmage at the stadium on a Saturday, but with consequences attached to it if there's no fans in the stands this football season. 865-255-03, Hour 3, powered by Low T Center and lowtcenter.com.
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what's hotter than Tennessee recruiting? That's right, the local real estate market. Things are still moving and shaking, so when you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, give me a call. Jennifer Morris at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols!
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Guys, Low T Center is open for normal business hours, including Saturdays. Their goal is to help you be the best and healthiest version of you. And right now, if you are concerned with social distancing, Low T Center can help with at-home treatment options for current patients. And they also have great options for new patients too. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy to take care of your health. most health insurance is accepted. They'll even help verify it for you. And just a reminder, if you're feeling bad, have a fever, or travel to high-risk areas, please stay home. If you'd like to learn more about getting a comprehensive health assessment, be sure to call 865-392-1388. That's 865-392-1388. Or you can schedule an appointment online at lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. While the players are gearing up for the gridiron, it's time for you to get geared up at Alumni Hall. Find the best selection of Nike, Nike Golf, Peter Millar, and all of those retro logos you love. And the 2 for $28 t-shirt deal? Game changer. And don't forget about the rest of your game day crew. There are plenty of options for the entire family and to upgrade that tailgate. Shop now at one of their 6 convenient locations in Tennessee or 24/7 at alumnihall.com. It's football time in Tennessee.
Voted Best Barbecue in City View Magazine and a top 100 barbecue restaurant in the country, Dead End is a no-brainer when you are craving the smoky flavor of quality Q. Dead End makes it easy to enjoy their fantastic menu with online ordering and local delivery with Valet Gourmet. That's right, you can have Dead End brought to you. Can't think of the spread for your next event? Get Dead End to cater it. Check them out online, deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Do you want a custom-themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Then look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. All of their bottles and tumblers are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the tumbler market. New this year are their stemless 12-ounce tumblers, perfect for repping your team while enjoying your favorite wine. They also have new 3-in-1 jackets to use as a koozie for a can or bottle, or you can pop a lid on it and use it as a 12-ounce tumbler or coffee cup. Be sure to check out everything Game Time Sidekicks has to offer at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Game Time Sidekicks, helping fans show your colors and carry your team with unique gear you will actually use.
Hour 3 of the Swain event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Yesterday at 2:20 p.m., preseason All-American, future first-round pick, Trey Smith tweets, Vol Nation was one of the biggest influence in me making my decision to come to the University of Tennessee. One of the hungriest, most tenacious, and most passionate fan bases I've ever been around. I can't think of another fan base as loyal as well. I've grown up in Tennessee all my life. I love this state. It's my home. It's where I like to remain. But we must address the issues that we still see. When Josh Palmer and I made those statements, we were not attacking our blood fan base. We were bringing attention to hurtful comments that you can see are still prevalent in our prior post. I love Vol fans because true volunteers come together to help in times of crisis. That's what we are about. No decisive rhetoric, simply unify. At no point whatsoever am I trying to corrupt minds or bestow my political beliefs upon people. I'm not forcing anything like that whatsoever. Everyone is entitled to their own political beliefs. That's American. However, if you continue to have a racist, prejudice, or suppressive speech mentality, we cannot make progress, and your ideals do not match the volunteer spirit. God bless and go Vols. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. Beautiful from Trey Smith. That's the positive part, right? The downside is that he felt the need to have to do this, to have to say that. You know why he felt the need that he had to clarify? Because people can't read. Simple as that. People can't read. People, even when they see something, they turn it and twist it. And my question is why? Why? It is July the 1st. The same conversation has been going on for over a month. At this level, when you're seeing protests, when you're seeing race being a conversation over the last month, it's at a higher level than usually, even though there's always been a conversation for the last 400 years about equality. But this past month, you have to be living under a rock to not hear some of the conversations. Why did Trey Smith, why did Josh Palmer have to put out a statement to clarify what was very easy to understand in the first place? Why? That's
because people react.
That's
without thinking.
That's my question.
Without comprehending.
So on the podcast Slice, Josh Palmer and Trey Smith did not say, if you don't support what we believe in, if you don't support our political opinions, then don't come to the game. They did not say that. They did not say, you have to support this organization to prove that you care about us and you're allowed to go to the game. That's not what he said either. That's not what was said. That is the furthest thing from the truth. This is a very, very important time that you listen to understand and get 100% of where someone's coming from instead of just hearing a person or just skimming over their words, and then you still have your own narrative because you allow the media to tell you how to think and how to feel. Here's a young man telling you exactly what he is saying. He's telling you exactly how he feels. There's no interpretation that's needed for you to get on CNN or Fox News or whatever for them to tell you that, it's something else that is not. Josh Palmer, in his quote on the Slice podcast, says, at this point, any fans out there, if you guys don't support us as human beings, don't come to the games, because I would rather have nobody in the stands than a bunch of fakes who pretend to like us because we entertain them. There is a if in this sentence, and it says, if you guys don't support us as humans. It said nothing about political affiliations. It said nothing about organizations. It said nothing about that. It says, if you don't support us as human beings. And folks that don't read, that don't listen to understand, but just want to listen just to respond. When you listen to respond, when you listen and you just can't wait till the person shuts up so you can talk, you miss key points that will help you understand where that person's coming from, because you're not listening to understand. You listen to talk. So you just sitting there, all right, man, let me know my time. You're not really listening. Josh Palmer and Trey Smith should have never even had to put out a statement yesterday. But Josh Palmer did put out a statement yesterday. And he says, some folks who have read my statement may have incorrectly interpreted or understood what I said and automatically perceived this statement as some type of attempt, indoctrination scheme. My statement is not about forcing the support of Black Lives Matter organization. It is to make a point unequivocally that we are more than just college football players who are simply asking for basic human decency off the field. We are asking that fans authentically support who we, as people of color off the football field, the same energy brought to the stands. Our experiences off the field matter and are tremendously important, very impactful. This is not a political play, and just because some of us received hard-earned scholarships and have much gratitude, receive the benefits thereof, does not mean we must be muzzled. So, to the confused commentators, I genuinely hope, for the sake of clarity, you now understand for the context of my prior statement. Like which this was like a great statement. He shouldn't have to put this out because he never pushed his political beliefs or affiliation with some type of organization or his agreement with the organization's belief on anybody. Y'all, just stop and look. Just stop and look. Think about how crazy this is right now. Two guys never got in trouble, representing the University of Tennessee with class, integrity, good players on the football field. All they said was, hey, man, we just want to be treated as a human being. And that's a problem. How do you misinterpret that? Because at this point, I don't think that's, oops, my bad, that's an honest mistake, I misread. It's a choice. It's been a month, guys. It's been a month of this, of conversations, of dialogues, in debates. There's been a month of conversation, a month of clarification. It's a choice at this point. How do you not understand these clear descriptions of how they feel and what they're trying to achieve? Like, this is easy. I'm not the smartest dude in the world, but not for 1 minute was I confused about what they were trying to accomplish. At what point did human rights become political? Did I miss something? Someone asking for just be treated like a human? How is that political? Let's get to the phones. Let's get to Turkey Man. Turkey Man, good morning.
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I was just going to call and ask a question about the meatloaf that in barbecue was talking about, because I like meatloaf. Anything about that meatloaf?
It's good, and it's great with mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts. That's my go-to.
I caught my attention. I thought about that, but
it's good. It's great.
Try to answer your question there, if I can, about.
I have an answer for your question, Turkey Man.
Huh?
I have an answer for your question about the meatloaf.
Sure.
The meatloaf is back, according to Dead End Barbecue. They sent out a tweet
I
last
seen that,
night.
and that's what I was asking about it. I see that.
The barbecue
And
cheddar
caught my
meatloaf is back, available while supplies last.
And that's the reason I was asking about it. I called in. I was going to ask about the meatloaf, but
good.
to answer your question that I'm going to try to answer this question. Why Trey felt the need to do what he did. You remember the story when I was telling you about meeting the in-laws the first time? You remember Kayla and Thomas and Dylan, and I was going to meet the parents. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting down, and he's Italian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find out something. I don't know much to figure, find something common ground I was looking for. So I'm sitting across from this guy, and so all I think comes to my mind, pizza. So I asked him if he made a good pizza, and I'm trying to make conversation. And my daughter got so irritated and mad at me and said that I was being, disgraced, or, I said something I shouldn't have said. Well, I was trying to have something I could talk to him about. And of course, I didn't see that the guy got offended, but she got offended about it, and just kind of raked me over. We discussed that, and you guys kind of went on with me and didn't see what I did wrong. But I think because we tried to talk, a lot of times we're so like we're walking on shells of busting instead of being able to just bleed for heart and know a person's heart. And sometimes I feel like if that's the reason that a person has to come back and say, well, I'm sorry about this, I didn't mean to do this way or whatever. I think that's a lot of the problems start with, brother. I think a lot of times we just, I didn't mean nothing by asking the guy about pizza. I was trying to find the common ground. But question I was going to ask you about the pizza, but I had a football question I was going to ask. Did I lose you?
We're listening, Turkey Man.
Okay. I didn't know. I went dead, and I thought I'd drop. My phone does that occasionally. He's talking about football when he's talking about no fans in the stand and what the advantage that would be. That's when I call, first call. Do you think this would be really a big plus for a quarterback as a freshman or not as much experience with crowd noises? Do you think that would be a real plus for playing a younger quarterback?
I think any offense that will play without fans in the stands will have an advantage. You know, you can get the snap count off right, no problem, without any communication issues. Now, the thing about not having any fans in the stands, if that's something that we do, will there be allowed crowd noise pumped in? Because it's one thing to have to deal with the real organic crowd noise because you have to use the hand signals. If it's too quiet when you're checking and making changes to the line of scrimmage, guess who can hear you? The defense.
Yeah. I don't think that they should be able to pump crowd noise in to the stadium, but I think they should add crowd noise to the broadcast like they have done with the Premier League and other sports. And I know that sounds like a funky combination, but in watching some Premier League soccer and I forget the other sport, like maybe it's Korean baseball, it doesn't sound natural. It kind of makes me forget that they're playing without fans in the first place, honestly.
Josh Palmer, Trey Smith. Looking at some of the comments.
I don't even want to think about them.
No, most of them are positive, man. Most of them are positive, and I don't see how you misinterpret it. One person was like, "Thank you for clearing it up. I understand now." Well, why the hell you didn't understand in the first place? Because he never said anything political in the first place. He basically said the same thing but said it over again. So that just means you wasn't listening the first time. That's all that means. Didn't even have to put out a statement. But I'm glad he did. He did a good job of further explaining his stance, which I think is a stance we all can get behind, which is, hey, I just want to be treated like everybody else. It's not political. Swain event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. We are out.
Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Jason Swain here. If you're feeling tired and grumpy, it could be low T or something else like sleep apnea. Low T Center now provides an easy and convenient home sleep test shipped to your home in little as 2 days and receive a CPAP device in little as 4